again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Jim Cornette Experience. Oh, we're going to shoot this thing today. Today, for the first time ever, we've got an email from prison. We're going to talk about people that should be in prison, and if I see any more of some of this shit, I may get locked up myself. And joining me to talk about all of this, Hawaiian Brian, the podcasting lion, the king of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network, Mr. Co-host to you, the proprietor of the French Toast Chateau, and the man who makes nails quiver and shake in his prison boots, the great Brian Last, everybody.
Aloha, Jim. A pleasure to be here once again. As a fan of wrestling history, I'm surprised you went with nails and not the convict.
Well, I was going to follow that up with discussion, because as I mentioned nails, I said, you know what, just the sight of Plowboy Frasier before he was even Plowboy Frasier in that convict outfit where, correct me if I'm wrong, but do the stripes on normal prison, well, they don't do striped prison outfits anymore, but when you saw them in the movies, did they go round and round or up and down? Up and down like a referee or round and round?
You know, I've never thought of this. I think it went up and down.
Because with Frasier, they went around and round. And think about, now, for some of the younger listeners, Plowboy Frasier was a Memphis wrestling mainstay, and he worked in a number of the southern territories, and he was almost 7 feet tall and well over, they billed him at 425, and I believe it. A lot of it in his midsection. And he was notorious. He was even used on top on a number of occasions, because a guy that big, you know, especially as a heel, and when he was partners with Lawler do the talking and everything, he got over, but he was not, let's say, Eddie Guerrero in terms of smoothness and technique. And before he became Plowboy Frasier, he had broken in as like Ed Hoss Younger, and he had a few different names, but they took him out. The only major territory outside the South he ever got to work was the Los Angeles territory in the late 60s for the LaBelles. And he was the convict, and they dressed him up in a mask, striped mask, and that full striped bodysuit. And as I mentioned, Frasier wasn't very svelte to begin with. And with those stripes going around him, it was just, and that face mashed up, and it was kind of like a Destroyer-style mask where it would mash your nose and your lips up and everything. Quite a sight. That was a money-drawing gimmick there, briefly, until they saw it a time or two.
Well, there's two curious things about it to me. One is the fact that this is LA before it went downhill, and somehow Stan Frasier got booked there and never got booked anywhere. Like you said, he got booked there. They make him the convict. They do what they can. The other thing is, he got booked in Japan. They made a big deal of him. I have the issue of Gone that he's on the cover of, managed by Pampero Firpo. Stan Frasier went to Japan. I mean, it is one of the weirdest stories.
Okay, well, my son, Brian Last, get ready to sit under the learning tree. And you got to learn how some of these things take place that looks like a screen door on a submarine or some other type of juxtaposition of things that would not normally go together. I guarantee you, without even having been there, I guarantee you that whoever was booking Los Angeles at the time had an idea for a convict. And went about looking for, I don't know that Frasier was ever in jail, at least more than overnight, let's say. Who knows what happened down in Pascagoula, Mississippi in the old days. But somebody either had an idea for a convict, and a giant convict, and went about looking for somebody to be that, or Blassie was around at the time, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Blassie was working also with those days. He was huge in Georgia. He may have seen Frasier at some point and said, you know, that guy's got to be a gimmick, and come up with a gimmick and made, you know, his word would be law at that point in time. Somebody either came up with an idea for a giant convict and went to look for the guy to play the part, or just saw Frasier standing there somewhere and said, that guy's got to be a fucking gimmick. And there you go. And it would have had to have been somebody in with the Los Angeles office. And that's how he got booked in Japan, because of the difference in Japanese and American cultures, especially then. That was a huge, the giant freak, Antonio, the great Antonio, a giant freakish gaijin foreigner, whether it be the great Antonio that pulls the buses or this fucking, I'm sure they'd seen by that point the movies from the American movies of the old chain gangs or whatever. So that kind of thing people thought was more common in America. In Los Angeles, it was a kitschy gimmick, and it's fucking Hollywood, right? But in Japan, they might have thought, oh, this is one of those convicts. Oh shit, we've seen those in the movies. So, and then it never went anywhere else. Ever.
There was no 10 years later, the convict returns.
Yeah, the convict didn't even, once he returned to the United States, the convict wasn't back. He was back to being Frasier at that point then. So it was a hard sell, I guess, for the rest of the territories. Anyway, what a milestone. Brian Last, a milestone in my life. I will have you and the people, the patient cult of Cornette members out there, I will have you know that the final domestic order from the great action figure Armageddon has been now sent officially. It's in the hands of the United States government via the U.S. Post Office. And the first several of the international packages have started going out, and that will be accomplished by what is today? Well, what are the people?
The show comes out on Saturday the 15th.
Saturday the 5th. Oh, Saturday's only the 15th? My, how time stands still. Well, in that case, all the international packages will be out before the end of the month of May. In the merry, merry month of May, I sent all the packages, hooray! And now I can actually breathe and possibly even take a shit, because I had no time to do these things before. None of that rhymed, but still I'm happy. So yes, if you ordered domestically anything from Cornette's Collectibles before it was shut down due to overcrowding, your stuff's in the mail domestically. Internationals will be out before the end of the month. My, oh my, what a beautiful feeling. And then for the people asking, because there have been a lot of people emailing, etc., I'm still going to take a bit of a break after we get this filled and done and over with. But we will have figures that will go back on sale. And Hotchkiss is working his bony fingers even further to the bone to get the brand new, all new JimCornette.com and website store and the whole 9 yards up sometime in the merry month of June, at which point all these things will go back on sale. And T-shirts and the books and everything else everybody's been asking about. I feel bad because even though there's a big banner up on the front page of the website, JimCornette.com, for those not paying attention, that says our store is closed while we fill all the action figure orders and attend to this business, I'm still getting some people email them. I feel stupid. I can't figure out how to order a T-shirt. That's because they're not up for sale. I feel bad having to call and tell people that, or having to email and tell people that. But anyway, new site coming up sometime in June. I'm being very picky. And we are going to address the great cameo drought, because a lot of people are saying that birthdays and special days are passing by and they can't order the cameos. So we're going to be doing cameos the first week of June. Thereabouts, details probably by next week on the experience.
Now $250.
No, now do not be spreading false information intending to affect my destination, or whatever the fuck. What is the line?
I don't know where you're going. Well, what song is this? I can't get no
satisfaction. I was starting to sing
that. Was what you were singing?
Don't spread false information. It sounded like one of the lines in the song.
That is not one of the lines in the song.
Supposed to drive my imagination. I can't get no action figures. No. Hey. That's what I say. Yes, you can get action figures, folks, as soon as my new site's done and the store opens back up, and that will keep people occupied with that. Here's another milestone.
I would have asked to heard your Michael Jackson impersonation, but I just heard your Mick Jagger one.
Michael Jackson, don't stop till you get enough. Ooh. I can't do his as well as he can.
What the fuck is that?
That's that.
He doesn't do that. What is that?
He did that. Well, he probably did that when he woke up from the propofol.
He didn't wake up from the propofol.
See, now, no. You think you've just burned me there, but I'll have you know he did, because it was a proven thing in all the court records that came out that the doctor had been giving him propofol regularly to make him sleep at his direction, and he woke up from it until the time he didn't. So when he woke up from the propofol, that's when he sounded like...
Can you imagine if the boys had found Dr. Conrad Murray before Michael Jackson did?
Anyway, speaking of, don't get me started on quack doctors from what I was about to bring up, goddammit. I'll get to heebie-jeebies. I'm getting my first vaccination shot on Tuesday. Stacy's getting her second. She blazed the trail there. We told that story. And then we've got an appointment. I get my first and she gets her second on Tuesday. But I'm going to look at it like a life insurance policy. I've got it just in case, but I don't really want to use it because that would mean that I was dead. I don't want to test this thing because now we're hearing on the news it's not guaranteed 100%. You probably won't die. You may need a booster shot. It's going to last for 6 months, maybe longer, but maybe once a year we have a booster shot.
I'm fine with that, by the way.
Well, I'm fine with that too, except for the fact that I don't trust that this is necessarily. I mean, other people can go about and test their level of tolerance, but I don't see any reason right now to change my behavior just because I'm vaccinated. I'll let everybody else be the canary in the coal mine, because now they're saying vaccinated people don't have to wear masks. Okay. How the fuck? Then that puts people on the honor system. How the fuck do we know they're vaccinated, or they're just these non-mask wearing Republican dipshits? And now they just, I'm vaccinated. If you will vote for a criminal, psychopathic lunatic to be the leader of the free world, then lying is not a moral obstacle that you should really be too concerned about. So they don't want to wear masks anyway. They'll just say, I'm vaccinated. So people won't fuck with them and go about slobbering their germs all over everywhere. And then if you're vaccinated, but you can get it and spread it, but you won't get sick. That's what I heard somewhere also. So I don't want to give it to anybody. Don't want to get it to anybody. I'm getting the vaccination just so I won't be quite so nervous during my infrequent quick trips through a grocery store. And otherwise, I'm staying the fuck away from people. It's now that if we have to, as a society, trust the Republicans to tell the truth about whether they're vaccinated or not, I say it's going to be a dangerous. I should have stopped and put the period after truth. Just tell the truth. But especially about whether they're vaccinated or not, it's still going to be a very dangerous society out there filled with contagious airborne pathogens called human beings. And have you heard the people who are not going to get vaccinated do their patriotic duty to try to slow the spread of all of this, because the vaccination is just to cover their implanting a tracking device in you? Have you heard about these people?
I've heard a little bit about it, and someone I know who is a really smart person won't get the vaccine because the excuse they gave me was that I don't want to be a guinea pig.
For what?
For whatever is in the vaccine. It kind of goes to that.
Well, the people that took it last year were the guinea pigs. Now we've moved up to at least being poodles or something. We're higher than the guinea pigs now. I'm not saying it's going to turn people into werewolves. I just don't trust that it's completely effective. Of course, it's necessary because the more vaccinated people, the more people that aren't spreading it, the more people that are not a welcoming host for a virus to latch onto them and mutate, etc. That's all positive. But for me, I don't trust anything. So therefore, I'm going to continue to distance myself from every fucking body until we find out exactly what's going on around here. And as far as the tracking device, these fucking nuts, who the fuck are they to think that they are that important? These some fucking right-wing militia schmo in Idaho doesn't want to get a vaccine because the government can put a tracking device in it. Why do they? I got news for you, dipshit. You're probably already somebody they're keeping an eye on the old-fashioned way. And secondly, why would they waste cutting-edge technology on your redneck backwoods fucking ass? Fuck you, idiots. They have delusions of grandeur is what they've got, Brian. But anyway, I'm saying everybody should get vaccinated. I'm not poo-pooing the vaccine. I'm just saying I need more time to make sure that this is more effective. Because right now, what I got going is pretty effective. Stay the fuck away from me. That has proven to be very effective. 100% effective, as a matter of fact. I would say that the stay the fuck away from me approach is probably the only 100% effective strategy against COVID that there is. Would you not agree?
I would assume if you don't interact with anyone else that's a part of society, you don't risk catching any of their diseases.
There you go. That's the one I'm going for. And I got the vaccine as a backup. Anyway, we mentioned, I got an email here, Brian. This is a first. All the years we've been doing the podcast, I've never had an email from one of our listeners that was currently incarcerated. They may have been incarcerated previously, but currently. But this is Peter. He gives no last name. I wonder why. Possibly the government, I'm sure, knows what it is. But no, he's a fan. Listen to this email. Hello, Mr. Cornette. I'm writing to you from Sussex State Prison. Say that 3 times fast. Sussex State Prison in Waverly, Virginia. I've been a fan of yours for many years, and I remember my dad taking me to see you at the Norfolk Scope. I just wanted to tell you how much we enjoy your show here. As you know or may not know, prison is a rough place. Well, we kind of got that idea. And most ethnic groups stick to their own kind, but we listen to both of your shows every week, and it's blacks, whites, Hispanics, and everyone else coming together to listen, laugh, and reminisce about old school wrestling. Bringing up AEW or The Fiend might get you stabbed. So thank you to you and Mr. Last. Your show means more to some people than you realize. Have a good day. Thank you, Peter. And all the folks up there at Sussex State. You know, how do they get to listen to, what's the status on outside communication in prison these days? This is not something that I've checked into. Maybe we ought to study this. They get to listen to fine podcasts and shows and entertainment such as ours?
I guess so. I mean, it's not a radio. It's not like you tune into the station. You have to have access to the internet. You have to have speakers set up to either a phone or a computer. Are they all gathered around listening to the Jim Cornette experience?
Well, I guess it's not fucking Alcatraz, so they have some rights and privileges, but I would think that if our program would have to be on some kind of one of those banned lists in prison, that you can't, like, they have certain things if you're in prison or if you're in a mental institution or whatever, you're not allowed to listen to because it may provoke you to do things. Well, this program certainly would have to be on one of those lists, wouldn't it?
I'm not saying there should be a prison uprising.
No, I didn't say that. No,
but
Attica.
Do you think they just tackle you if you just start chanting Attica? Do they just right away run out and just tackle you?
I have another email from Daniel. And this is, is one of these heartwarming stories. Hi, Jim. I won't bore you with a really long message, but a friend of mine had a signed copy of your restraining order. He's talking, of course, about the restraining order that old Shitstain put on me a few years ago. Daniel says it was a thing he loved a lot and wouldn't shut up about having. Well, he kindly offered to look after my dog whilst I went to see my niece for her birthday. Well, my naughty dog, and by the way, this email is from the United Kingdom. Well, my naughty dog decided to wee up the restraining order. He took it down to clean. My dog can't float in midair. I'm just wondering if I could purchase another copy. I'm not sure if you want to, but you'd be making my mate's day if you could help us out. His name is Ben, and he listens to your podcast all the time. Please let me know if you can or can't. Also, we both hate Russo if that helps make up your mind. This is the first time I've ever had the Cult of Cornette listening equivalent of the dog ate or peed on my homework. So I want you to know that I've contacted Daniel, and I've gotten his address, and I'm sending Ben another copy of the restraining order because the dog weed on it, because that just struck me funny.
How about you walk the dog? Just be watching the dog. Take the dog out.
Yeah, take the fucking dog out. Well, actually, the guy, he was taking the restraining order off the wall to clean it at the time when the dog had to do what the dog had to do.
Yeah, where was this restraining order that the dog had access to it? Was it just lying on the floor?
No, maybe it was on the couch. Oh, can you imagine if the dog weed on the restraining order while it was on the couch?
Oh my God, I love this. This is one of my most cherished items. Let me put it here on the couch. Fido, stay.
You know what? Now that you mention it, now that you brought it up, Brian, I haven't mailed this thing out yet. I told him I was going to, but now that there was a lot of negligence, a lot of negligent behavior, what that was going on here with this restraining order, I'm not sure now that I should be as nice as I was going to be. We'll see what happens. Anyway, all right, I've talked about my merchandise schedule and cameo schedule and the website schedule and my vaccination schedule. Let's talk about our programs. This coming week, apparently, you are going to insist on behalf of the Cult of Cornette that I watch and review, if possible, the offering from the WWE on what we now laughingly still refer to as pay-per-view, even though nobody pays to view it because it's all on the cock and everything else. What is it? Backlash? It's WrestleMania Backlash?
WrestleMania Backlash? Although looking at the card, you may want to call it WrestleMania Backwash.
Very good. I see what you did there. I thought the backlash to WrestleMania came the day or two afterwards when everybody got a chance to talk about, well, never mind. So what is on this pay-per-view that our drive-through is? Because the drive-through is going to be a big program this coming Tuesday. That'll be what? Tuesday the
25th.
25th of what? Already? Wait a minute. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
God damn you. You just told me Saturday was the 15th.
Oh, excuse me. 18th.
Well, God damn you. Fuck my mind all up.
I'm sorry.
You've just blown my mind. I thought I was way farther behind than I am now. Anyway, so whatever date you just said it really is, the 18th. That it may be out a little bit later on Tuesday because we've not only got to talk about the Shawn Michaels biography on A&E. He's still alive, so I bet this one won't be a negative. Seems that they're only speaking ill of the dead so far. But also we're going to talk about Backlash and what are they foisting off on us in the name of professional wrestling on Sunday.
Here are the matches that are currently listed. In a Lumberjack match, Damien Priest versus The Miz.
I liked it on the first half. Well, I mean, Miz is, and I've been watching a lot of all petite wrestling these days, so Miz will probably look better by comparison. And we like Damien Priest. Why is a Lumberjack match from whatever they did before?
It's from the Great North Woods.
Wait a minute. It was Damien Priest and Bad Bunny, right?
They were friends. They teamed up at WrestleMania against Miz and Morrison.
And won.
Yes.
So why we got a lumberjack match now? Did they do something on television?
It's a good question that one should probably watch the television to find out the answer to, because I don't. We could.
They'll do a package.
They better.
Fuck it, we'll watch the package.
Well, also on the card, Jim, for the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns, the champion, with Paul Heyman versus Cesaro.
Okay. Boom. Write this down in your little black book wherever you keep it, Brian Last. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Anything that gives Claudio Castagnoli a main event, and also I get to Roman Reigns. I've mentioned I'm a fan of most everything. Some of the more odd things they've had him do, like when Paulie couldn't pick the lock, but mostly Reigns has been great. And of course, then we get to see Paul go through a variety of Alfred Hitchcock's facial expressions at ringside. So that's going to be, I'm looking forward to that. I wish it was for the actual world title rather than one of the, I get the universe is bigger than the world. So why does the world title's now become the United States title?
Well, actually, I think in the WWE way of looking at it, which defies science, the world and the universe are an equal.
Oh, well, say that. See, no, now hey.
And as I say that, I realize how ridiculous it is.
I've watched Bill Nye a bunch of times, not to mention Dr. Carl Sagan. I watched him billions and billions of times, and I always heard the universe was bigger than the world.
Well, you also watch Dr. Bombay a lot of times, but let me ask you this, Jim. Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. How do you think Roman Reigns is going to win? Who's going to interfere? Will it be Jey Uso super kicking Cesaro? I feel like it's the same finish.
Well, that is one thing about the match in all seriousness, is that everybody knows that Claudio, I can't call him Cesaro. Claudio's not going to win it. And unfortunately, that's a byproduct of how they've booked both guys. Reigns to be so strong, and Cesaro is like now Cinderella story out of nowhere after they've buried him for years. And he's so good, and he's such a good guy. And everybody that's ever been in the ring with him recognizes how good he is. And I think it's one of those things that Bruce would explain is, well, we just needed to make him a fucking septic tank repairman to give him some personality. Because he's one of those guys that Bruce will give you you just need more personality line. Instead of, no, what we need is somebody that doesn't have a stupid, hokey fucking gimmick that we actually push as a main event guy. It's what we need. So now they're doing it simply because talent is short and somebody has browbeat him to, here's this fucking guy's great. He's never a problem. He does everything he's asked. He's a fucking exemplary human being, and he's more talented than all the numbnuts that we've been pushing. So why don't we do something with him? Okay. But it's too quick. Nobody thinks he's going to beat Roman Reigns because what has it been, suddenly 4 to 6 weeks ago, everybody, Cesaro. I'm not saying they shouldn't push him and elevate him. I'm saying it takes longer than that. What if they just did it slow and just let him start winning and having standout matches on every program that they had time for that to happen for the next 6 or 8 months, and then getting a personal issue with somebody maybe right under a Roman Reigns and fucking win in the end convincingly and cleanly. And then, hey, you motherfucker, I've always wanted to be the Universal Champion. But 6 weeks after they've just discovered that he shouldn't be fucking hanging out in the second match, doing bullshit, he's in the main event going for the Universal title. Little quick.
Well, Jim, on a show like this, every match is the main event. For the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the champions, the Dirty Dogs, versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, boy.
The Mysterio family affair.
What? Who are the Dirty Dogs?
Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode.
Oh, So this is their new tag team name. I tell you, this hadn't, because I haven't seen this in print or anything.
And for the record, it's DAWGS.
Well, of course it is. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are probably two of the not only premier in-ring performers in that company, but anywhere in the business these days. I've always said, Bobby Roode 15 years ago in TNA, I'm like, this is a young Arn Anderson. He was better probably at the same age than Arn was. I saw them both around the same time. And, he's a classic worker, no wasted motion. He's smart. Everything's always in the right place. Doesn't hurt anybody. Shit looks good. Good looking athlete. Dolph, as I've mentioned many times, channels Kurt Hennig and probably overdoes it a bit, but he's having fun. It's kind of like the story Bockwinkel used to tell about Ray Stevens. Stevens was so much better than everybody else, he could go in and jack off and still outperform everybody, and Bockwinkel would tag in and try his hardest and still wouldn't be as good. That's what Nick would say. It was over Dolph likes, bumping around, but it's only because they've just used them once again in a middle position for so long that we'll see what I love them as workers. We'll see what happens as one of the three sets of tag team champions in the company.
How do you think they'll do against Tojo and George here?
No, at least make them the Jet Set. I am all for a young man following in his father's footsteps, right? But what the interview that I saw on, I believe it was WrestleMania when they spoke together on a backstage interview, whatever. The point is, Dominic is overly tall, apparently, for his age, and Ray, as we know, is not the tallest person, and it looks preposterous. But more importantly than that, Dominic gave this interview that he was trying as hard as he could. He memorized it, and it was one of those fake, cheerful, the idea of being a father and son team. He was so scared speaking. It was just fake cheerfulness with memorized verbiage. And honestly, nobody ever said that Rey Mysterio's strong suit was promos, and he kind of did the same thing, fake cheerfulness and scripted verbiage. And from what I've seen, I know that obviously that Dominic has been training. We haven't seen everything that he's done on television, but the problem is we've seen everything he's done in front of people on television, because he didn't even get in the ring till after the pandemic started, right? If not, it was damn close. He's never done any independent shows. And if he's been training at the Performance Center, has anybody ever mentioned that, by the way? Boy, this Dominic Mysterio is a real standout. Or even here at the Performance Center? So where has he been training? And is it fair to put, and from what we saw with what he's done before, he's not a natural. I think that would be fair to say. So all of a sudden and what is he, 19 years old? At this point, you got an age on him over there?
In that range. I can find an age. I don't have it on top of.
Well, find his age, because I want to know how old this fucking guy is. Point is, they're putting him in the biggest promotion in the world, on global streaming television of whatever description it is these days.
24 years old.
Is he 24?
6'1".
Okay, and Ray's like 5'3", so that's 10 inches. But the point is, if he's 24. Where's he been?
He had a lot of things going on in his life.
No, seriously. Now
I have no idea.
I'm blown away. I thought he was like 18 or 19, and I'm like, they're rushing him after he's just started training. But if he's 24 and he hasn't been training, he's Rey Mysterio's son. He's 24. He's going to be a wrestler. But he hadn't been training at least part-time for the last few years. Or if he has, then that's even worse. because now we're not seeing a guy that's just green as grass talking and working. We're seeing a guy who's trained somewhere, hopefully, apparently in secret for the past few years, but still has never wrestled in front of people because we've never heard about it, right? So then that shoots that theory. He can't have been training for several years because he would have wrestled in front of people. Has it happened in Mexico? Was he under a mask?
If so, I don't know about it.
And nobody's reported it. And it's not been so...
But we don't know. That, to be fair, we weren't paying attention a couple of years ago. Someone may have said, Dominic Mysterio's taking bumps in a school. We don't know.
No, I just because I don't watch the shows doesn't mean I don't read the internet. And that would have been a topic of conversation. I don't know about this whole thing. Maybe somebody's just had an idea. Hey, Ray, your son, does he want to make a bunch of money? Sure.
Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll win you over with this match at WWE Wrestlemania Backlash. But Jim,
I don't have anything against him, but I'm just now if he's 24 years old and he's starting and he's the son of Rey Mysterio, so he could have started training anytime, anywhere he wanted. But he's just starting now.
But you don't know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know if he's been in Mexico training with a friend of Rey Mysterio or
but okay, then
Rey Mysterio's uncle.
I challenge any Mexican wrestling experts or worldwide wrestling experts. Has Dominic Mysterio had a match in front of people or matches in front of people? How long and where has he been training? And does that resume put him on in the tag team title match for the biggest company in the world at this stage?
Well, Jim, also on this show, a triple threat match.
Oh, God.
For the Raw Women's Championship. The champion, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Or wait a minute. Actually, it might be. Hee-haw! No, that's the wrong one. Son of a bitch. I thought I had a wolf whistle on here. There we go. Hit the wrong button. Rhea Ripley.
As I said, a triple threat match. Rhea Ripley against Asuka against Charlotte Flair.
Ooh. So, okay, I can buy this now. They're teasing us. They do not give us Rhea and Charlotte in a one-on-one confrontation. Asuka's there, hopefully, to drop the fall and or do any other type of flunky work. I'm looking forward to that.
Now, this card is several days away as we are recording. It's this weekend. Actually, it's 2 days away.
2 days.
Do you think between now and when the card happens, any of these women will be told by WWE doctors that they are pregnant?
Oh, for God's sake, hopefully not. Well, and actually, maybe if selfishly, they could question Asuka, and that way we just get Charlotte and Rhea.
Asuka's good. What do you have against her in the ring?
Hey, she's in between Rhea and Charlotte.
Oh, she's good. Stop it. You're going to like this. No, you're not. You're going to prejudge this match, and you're going to go in and you're going to hate this match. But also...
Well, it's a three-way. I'll tell you this, in all honesty, it's a three-way match. So that generally sucks, no matter who's involved, male, female, animal, vegetable, or mineral. So it'll be a challenge. Let's see if they can make this more palatable than most of them are. So I will not be grading horribly critically because it's almost impossible to have a good three-way anyway, at least in wrestling.
Also, for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bianca Belair, your champion, versus Bayley.
Well, wait a minute. Now now they're just bumping boobs there. They're putting one women's match up against another women's match. Taking the highlight away from both women's matches.
Well, I don't know if this is the order they will be in on the show. This is the order I'm reading them.
Well, but they're on the same show. There's two women's title matches on the same show. So that just, yeah.
And finally,
if there's two men's title matches on the show, then that's just bleh.
And finally, for the WWE Championship.
That's what I'm talking about.
In a triple threat match.
Oh, God damn it.
The champion Bobby Lashley with MVP versus Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman.
Oh, Christ. that thing will be fucked up beyond all recognition because Strowman's almost immobile and his shit looks rotten. So they're going to have to give him a bunch of big things to do to cover that up. And again, 2 champions. So why is either prestigious on the same show and in another 3-way? So, all right, there's a few potential high spots in that lineup, but otherwise it's probably going to be what it's going to be.
And that's the card for WrestleMania Backlash.
It should be WrestleMania Refund. Call up, get our money back. Oh, God almighty. You know, Brian, if you keep insisting that I put myself through the mental torture of having to watch these people twist a wrestling business into illogical knots, I'm going to need somebody to talk to. Do you think BetterHelp has a counselor for people who are put upon by their co-host of their podcast to damage their own psyche?
I understand it's a growing area in the field.
It may be in the area of your groin. I don't know how growing it is, but nevertheless, if you've got just a prickish co-host of your podcast or anything else that's causing you stress, distress, or heartache, the folks at BetterHelp can help. BetterHelp, as we've mentioned so many times, is professional counseling done securely online. It's not self-help or a crisis line. It's counseling online with a wide variety of counselors with expertise in different areas that may not be locally available, or you may not want to go out in public anyway. You can schedule weekly video or phone sessions with your counselor so you don't have to sit in a waiting room. You've got an account that you can log into at any time and do the messages, etc. They want you to start living a happier life today by giving you someone to talk to and sort things out. If you go to their website and read the testimonials, they post them every day. You can go to BetterHelp, that's HELP, betterhelp.com/JCE, and get 10% off your first month's services. It's a special offer for our listeners because they like us and they know that we're important. 10% off your first month's services at betterhelp.com/JCE. You can join the over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. As a matter of fact, I could take charge of my mental health, possibly by just exercising my mute button on you at some points. Brian, you're starting to lead me astray. You're starting to go rogue.
Well, we don't have to worry about you doing that. Everyone knows you stay away from exercise.
Hey, see, that's what I mean. You're starting to zing me. I got my guard down. I'm looking at all these motherfuckers over here in front of me, and here you are from the back giving me the flipper in the ribs. Anyway, where are we going from here?
That's a great question. This is your show.
Oh, so now, once again, just because I browbeat you on the drive-thru about somebody's got to direct that fucking runaway freight train. It's a ball running down a hill with you in charge. There's no fucking control, no rhyme or reason. Here we're structured here on the experience. We've got entertainment for everybody. Anyway, the Dark Side of the Ring comes back next week on Vice with a show about the North Korean super shows that WCW did in the 90s. And I'm not on this one because I wasn't on those. And actually, this is one I'm looking forward to because we all heard the stories that were circulated at the time and heard about, the shows and the attendances and some of the situations. But honestly, I haven't studied it since then. It's been 25 years. And now we're going to get some stories firsthand from some of the people that were there on camera. So I might learn something on this one. I'm looking forward to it. Next week, Thursday night, May the 20th, 9 p.m. Eastern on Vice. Our friends with Dark Side of the Ring.
You say it returns next week. It was on this past week, the Nick Gage episode.
That wasn't wrestling. So honored my word that I gave, and I didn't watch it because I don't want to see that fucking goof, that bank-addicted drug robber. And I even you can make the case, which I believe was a quote of mine. This is not going to do the public image of professional wrestling any good at all about the New Jack episode, but at least he started as a wrestler and ended up stabbing people in hotel ballrooms, whereas this guy was never a real fucking wrestler to begin with. He was a garbage wrestler from the start, then he got addicted to drugs, then he robbed a bank, went to prison, and then the fucking scum that he works for kept booking him to have more of these garbage death matches. And I think it glorifies that kind of shit to begin with, which only a scum-sucking, pond-dwelling mutant would either participate in or be a fan of. And secondly, for people, normal people who might be actually watching this because it is a mainstream television program on a network, not just, a wrestling show per se, they'll think that this is another kind of professional wrestling, which it is not. It's an embarrassment, and it's garbage, and the people that are in it are garbage, and I don't choose to glorify that. Scum, I believe, was a word I mentioned.
So you didn't watch?
So I didn't watch it.
Okay.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Why did you watch it?
I'm trying to not watch the news as much, so I have more time to watch things live as they happen. It is baseball season, and the Mets weren't playing. So I watched it live, and boy.
Well, what did you think of Mr. Garbage Deathmatch Bank-Addicted Drug Robber?
It hit me. Every now and then someone sends in a letter, either to the drive-thru or directly to you, and it'll say something along the lines of, I'm just curious, my uncle says he was a wrestler. His name was Flying Jack Hunter.
Yes.
And he, main evented all these shows, and usually
Jack Double Barrel Cannon.
We know right away it's BS because we are super fans, I guess you could say, who know the names of almost every wrestler that worked everywhere, ever. Now that you think about it.
I will give that to you. I will admit that over the last 10 or 15 years, my interest has waned enough that a lot of them have escaped my attention since then. But previously, yes.
It hit me watching this garbage wrestling, or what do they call it? Deathmatch wrestling, excuse me. I'm using the Christian name. This deathmatch wrestling scene, I realized watching this, I have no idea who any of these people are or what they're doing. Because they had this one thing. I've heard this name Nick Gage for years. I had no idea who he was, or I knew about the Arquette incident, but that was it.
Yeah, that's why I saw that clip and a couple of the other clips to determine that, something's going on with the guy. But otherwise than that, I have no idea. Something mentally I'm talking about is going on. But I've never seen him before.
And I came out of this really sympathizing with Arquette for this situation, actually. But there's this whole other world of this guy, Nick Gage. Apparently, he's a big star in it, but then they show you the room, and if one of the room had 500 people, that may have been the most, and there's a lot of outdoor shows that don't seem that big, so he's really big with a very small subsect of wrestling. But I've at least heard his name. At one point, they're talking about this King of Death tournament on a field in Delaware, away from the authorities. The authorities can't get to them. When a wrestling show is running from the authorities, you may have a problem. So they're doing this show, and it's a deathmatch tournament, and then he's in the main event, and I swear I'd never heard this guy's name before in my entire life. He's in the main event against, apparently, this deathmatch star and legend from Europe, from Germany.
They do it there, too.
Named Thumbtack Jack.
Oh, no.
So I'm laughing because they're like,
They ripped off one of Vince McMahon's worst gimmicks from the 80s to name one of their top guys.
So this guy, Thumbtack Jack, he does all the death matches and stuff. So I'm laughing about his name. The match starts right away. He throws Nick Gage out of the ring into these light tubes. Right away, he gets a cut that hits an artery. He's bleeding to death. They take him out of there. See, I hate to laugh about it, but he survived. They take him out of there. He's cursing at the cameraman.
Wait a minute, back up. You just buried the lead. I hate to laugh about it, but he survived, so ha. I'll laugh about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, then because they were in the field, so the authorities couldn't get to them, they had to get a helicopter. They had to get a helicopter to get him out of there. He flatlined on the way to the hospital, and then he came back to life. But I believe via forfeit, Thumbtack Jack won the tournament, if I had to guess.
Was this before or after he went to prison for robbing the bank?
I believe it was before. This was kind of one of the things that cemented his deathmatch legend. So what
you're saying is this guy is already doing his stupid shit in front of these fucking mutant weirdos with these other mutant weirdos. He's already cut himself to the point where he almost bled out, flatlined while being airlifted, and came back to do more of it, then went to prison, then got out of prison, and then decided, well, hey, I need to do even more of this, is what you're saying to me.
Well, almost, because you left out a few steps. He starts wrestling for that CZW thing, and boy, I didn't know until I watched this that apparently some of these CZW guys hate the ECW guys, because they think that in the ECW guys' minds, this is so funny, that they look at these guys and think, you're going way too far. You're taking it too far. So they're like, fuck these ECW guys. So CZW's wrestling there. His brother's also a wrestler. And they're doing all these deathmatch things. He's getting injured so much that he develops a painkiller addiction, which causes him to rob a bank. The funniest line of the thing may have been Moxley, who's all over the thing.
I figure, yeah, I saw one of the clips. That's why another reason I don't like that fucking moron, but go ahead.
Well, he's got all of his teeth, so he was smiling all through this thing. But he brings up a great point. He goes, here's Nick Gage, and you're seeing this footage of him throughout this thing. He goes, every time he comes to the ring, the guy's a bandana over his face. The one time he does it, he's standing right in front of the camera in the bank. Like it's clear as day who it is. And Moxley's laughing about that. So he goes away for like 5 years, and then he gets parole. And then they pop him again for, I think, a drug test. And he goes in for another 2 years. And since that time, he started working out. And now
he's really worried about his health and physical condition.
That's right.
Oh, my God. And like you said, these other deathmatch freaks get in the ring with this fucking guy. He's been on drugs. He's a fucking convicted felon. He's a goddamn lunatic that obviously doesn't care whether he mutilates himself. I'm going to work with this fucking guy? Fuck you.
Do you know about the Arquette incident? Like what happened exactly?
Yes. Remember we blistered him, David Arquette, for that on the goddamn show here a couple of years ago. This idiot, David Arquette, can't just fucking sit back and say, okay, I'm a joke to the wrestling fans because a goofy fucking writer 20 years ago made me a champion, but I'm still an actor from Hollywood, and that's just a blemish on my reputation with the wrestling fans. He's got to somehow 20 years later have a midlife crisis, train to become a wrestler, and then instead of doing actual real wrestling matches, does a fucking death match with the bank-addicted drug robber, and the bank-addicted drug robber cuts his fucking throat. And I laughed. And again, I laughed. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, stop it.
Because what the fuck do you think's going to happen when some fucking bank-addicted drug robber slashes your throat with a broken fucking fluorescent light tube in what's supposed to be a wrestling match? It was a heel program. There was no baby face. All of them got what they deserved.
Well, David Arquette was interviewed as part of this Dark Side of the Ring.
I'm sure he was. Now he's scrambling for any attention or relevance he can get.
And I sympathize with what he said. So someone brought up the idea of working with this Nick Gage guy and doing a death match, and he was open to it. The one request he had when he took them to dinner for steak the night before was, don't cut me. I'm an actor. You can't cut my head. Don't cut me. And apparently without his knowledge during the match, Nick Gage took out a pizza cutter and started going back and forth over David Arquette's forehead and then put it in his mouth. And at that point, I don't want to say a shoot broke out, but you could tell in the footage, Arquette, he's like, what the fuck? And he says in the interview, I can't trust this guy with my body. So then he gets hit with the fig. He's bleeding out. I mean, it's just the whole thing. I'm not exactly sure. It was entertaining at times, but is that what Dark Side's supposed to be? Is it supposed to be like a look at something that happened in the past or something that's an ongoing thing that's just an entertaining... I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
It's supposed to be the dark side of the ring stories of professional wrestling. And because of, and this is another reason why I don't like this fucking Moxley clown, because of people like that, who is actually, whether he's any good or not, subject to your taste, he's an accepted name in the professional wrestling business. And he's over there hooting and hollering and glorifying this guy. And wow, it was so great because he likes that fucking thumbtack pizza cutter. Oh my God, did he slice my tongue? Bullshit. Which is why, obviously, that he didn't endear himself to the WWF administration. Because if that's every time that you give him leeway, he comes up with shit like this. That's what he comes up with. No wonder. So the point is, you've got a Hollywood actor participating in this, even if he gives cautionary tales afterwards, and you've got a guy who's supposed to be a legitimate big star in professional wrestling talking about how great this deathmatch clowns are. All that does is make people think that some people, weak-minded people, gullible people, will go, oh, I want to do this. I'll look up to these morons with their brain damage and their fucking broken bodies and their mutilated faces and their fucking drug addiction. I'll look up to them and I'll do this and I'll dive through glass panes and mouse traps. And it lends enough credibility to some of the fans. I should go and see this. And they fucking support that shit. And it gives other people, as I said before, normal people, the mistaken impression that this is somehow professional wrestling and that you should look at all professional wrestlers like these fucking morons. And as I've said before, the wrestling business doesn't need any help giving itself a black eye. But to call this stuff, whether it's Ian Rotten and his foolishness or that Combat Zone Wrestling horse shit or everybody that dives off the roof of a barn through a fucking truck windshield or this fucking bank-addicted drug robber, all it does is make people who don't know anything about professional wrestling look down on everybody else in it because they think this is part of it. Fuck them and feed them fish heads.
And that was Dark Side of the Ring.
But next week, we'll be back in North Korea where decent folks hang out. So that'll be that. Here's another, wait a minute, just a real quick email from Michael, another UK. We got a ton of listeners across the pond. He's from North Yorkshire, UK, a 33-year-old prison officer. He's been listening for a bit over a year, and the recent episode of The Experience prompted me to finally email after the discussion about the British use of the word fucking, as in fucking hell, etc. He says wrestling has virtually zero popularity over there now in the United Kingdom, especially with adults. I literally know 2 people I can talk about wrestling with, so your podcast makes up for the lack of conversation. Also, they've had the pandemic, and by the way, Michael, we're sorry her mother has a brain tumor, but she's being monitored and it's benign. So we hope that she feels better. But anyway, us Yorkshire folk consider ourselves to be from God's own county, although I'm an atheist like yourself. And I thought you may get a kick out of some of our more commonly used insults. I've heard a bunch of these. Some of them I haven't. But, Brian, I'm going to quiz you on this. Do you know what is the definition of a pillock? A pillock.
I do not.
Something you might call a stupid person. Oh, you fucking pillock. How about a doilum?
I do not.
That is a lighthearted insult, something you might call each other after a gaffe on air. Oh, you fucking doilum. A bell end.
I do know bell end.
What do you say bell end is?
You're being a bell end, you're being a dickhead.
Yes. Because of the shape, but also, because I learned that one when I was over there a few years ago, but also he says a bell end can be any annoying or contemptible man, i.e. Twinkle Toes McFingerbang. Of course, they pronounce asshole arsehole, and shithouse is pronounced shithouse with no H, which a shithouse is now a coward, but it was previously used for an unpleasant toilet. A Mardy bum. What's a Mardy bum?
I'm not exactly sure, but Arctic Monkeys have a song called Mardy Bum. But I have no idea what it's about, but I like the song.
It's a grumpy person, like Jim after watching modern wrestling. A Mardy bum. What about a munter or a minger?
I'm not sure.
An ugly woman. And of course, twat is like cunt, but milder. And wanker is a word for someone who masturbates, but why is it used as an insult? He says used as an insult for some reason, question. But you can add fucking to the word to all of these. So you could be a fucking pillock, fucking doilum, fucking bellin, fucking twat, fucking wanker, etc. Anyway, thank you, Mick from North Yorkshire. But we have another email from across the pond. Brian, we're going to have to start working out on our, I can't call it soccer like we do over here. It's British football. We got to work on our football terminology over there because we got to get into this because now apparently our friend, the Booker of the Year, Tony Khan, is just not only making a mockery of all of the rules and regulations and procedures in professional wrestling, but apparently he's doing the same thing to their football team. Have you heard about this?
There was a graphic going around the other day on Twitter saying that the Khan's American football team, I'll call it, the Jacksonville Jaguars, were the worst team or had the worst record in the league. And then their soccer team in England, Fulham, I believe, they have now been sent to a lesser league to...
They've been relegated.
Yeah, what exactly is that? You're sent down?
When you apparently it's like if the poor Cincinnati Reds got kicked out of Major League Baseball, I guess, or if the Jacksonville Jaguars had to go to the USFL or whatever, if that was still a thing. Benjamin from Cornwall, England. Greetings from Cornwall, England. Hi, Jim. Hi, Brian. He thought it would be worth drawing our attention to what's been going on down here, he says. It must be in the southern part of England. As an avid football supporter, many of us fans down here in the UK are becoming increasingly aware of Tony Khan's negligence toward Fulham Football Club. The Premier League club was relegated on Monday following an embarrassing 0-2 defeat against Burnley. Apparently their record is such a losing record that they've lost the right to be in the Premier League status. He goes on to say, many Fulham supporters feel as though Tony's handling of the club has been abysmal. He's been known to be incredibly irresponsible in the transfer market, spending the club's finances on players despite not having any strategy. You're the major sports fan here. That would be like our trades, the team's trades, transfers, right? I would think.
I would think so, or perhaps someone who's on the waiver wire, a free agent.
Well, what you said. He goes on to say, Tony was also on a collision course with Fulham head coach Scott Parker. After the signing of center forward Ivan Toney failed to materialize, Khan decided to rubbish suggestions of Parker's input, taking sole credit for any interest in the striker. With all of this, Fulham supporters are now calling for Khan to resign from his role as chairman of the club. All of them are frustrated at the way he's run the club and are unhappy that he'd prefer to play wrestling in America as opposed to running a football club down here in England. Jim and Brian, as two individuals who only know Tony Khan for his wrestling exploits, what are your thoughts on this? Deja vu. Deja vu. Deja vu. A guy who has never played football, trained in football, been a football coach or someone with hands-on experience in the game, owns a football team and is running it despite suggestions to the contrary from all the people who are experienced in football. I say it sounds real similar, don't you?
Maybe.
And how much heat can he have with these people? Because now, apparently, if they've just been relegated, they were in the Premier League before, and we knew a couple of years ago they were holding up the signs, Tony Khan wanks dogs and all that shit, and he was up in arms about it and banning people who would say that he would wank dogs. And so how much more heat can he take from these people? But it's the same fucking thing, is it not? He likes the sports. He's watched the sports. He likes writing down things, plays and such about the sports. The problem is he's watched people fly the plane, but he doesn't know what all the buttons are. So he doesn't know how to do it himself. And he's crashing into a fucking tree or a mountain in two different endeavors. Is it just totally impossible for him to say, you know what? I like these things, so I'm going to put my money behind them and hire people who know what the fuck they're doing to run them, so they will not only be successful, but also decent to fucking watch. But no, he's going to do everything himself because the Adderall kicks in early in the morning, and he's a nerd that always wanted to, from the time he was booking wrestling in his basement online in his fantasy federation, or I don't know what the fantasy equivalent of that is with English football, but what the fuck? It's the same fucking thing, is it not?
Good. I have seen some comments that say that it is known amongst the football fans outside of the wrestling community. Like, they know Tony's spending all of his time on wrestling. And if you look at it, Dynamite and then the 2 internet shows every week, and he's the final say-so and the one booking a lot of it.
We understand that from QT Marshall.
From QT Marshall. I also saw something that said a lot of the fans really like Shad Khan being the owner because they'll spend money. It's just they hate that with him being the owner, his son is the one running things. No one has any confidence or faith in him. It's the same thing with football. I mean, you'll see this. We'll see this season with Jacksonville will be very interesting. I'll say that.
Well, and we'd like to send some type of best wishes, hopefully, for him to return to action in a different fucking wrestling company. Ricky Starks just got his neck broken. Actually, not just. It was 2 weeks ago or whenever it was when he took that German suplex and was supposed to land on his feet and landed on his head and then popped up and didn't sell it. Turns out it broke his neck. And one of the highlights, one of the guys that we actually enjoy watching, but you don't need to have any vulnerable parts of your body if you work for that company. How many injuries have they had? How many surgeries have they had in just a year and a half on television? Everybody gets hurt. Everybody gets injured. Everybody gets knocked out in the middle of matches because it's a goddamn Chinese fire drill. They're all out of control. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're just diving randomly at everything. And if something does actually happen that really hurts, they don't sell it if it's not the spot that they called ahead of time in the locker room. This guy, and I like Ricky Starks. We've done nothing but praise him. He looks good, he works good, he talks good. I hope he's takes care of himself and comes back in the proper amount of time and better, but goddamn, he took a German suplex on his head that actually broke his neck and didn't even sell it and popped up and went to the next spot. And then now we're hearing about it after. I guess he finally went to the doctor. And did you see people are saying, well, it was not a broken neck, it was a fractured neck. What the fuck? Brian, if you take a bump that does either one, breaks your neck or fractures your neck, shouldn't you stay down and sell it?
I would think so. I was surprised when I read that it was a fractured neck and then they said he'll be out for 3 months. So I was like, that's it?
That's nothing. I don't know who he's I hope they're sending guys like that to either Andrews in Birmingham, or if somebody is taking his spot as the premier orthopedic people or maybe, Angle's neck guy or whatever. I don't fucking know. But no, 3 months doesn't sound right for anything related to your neck that involves anything getting broken or fractured.
But you know what? Get him on TV right away with a neck brace and just give him a microphone.
Well, no, because I don't trust any of these fuckers not to hurt him accidentally. Somebody out there that pays more attention than we do ought to compile a list of the people that have been injured, operated on, or just knocked unconscious on camera, either on YouTube or their television show, in a year and a half of this falderall. Because, and I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. Half the time I see the guy taking bumps that they want to take and taking them right. Take a full-fledged, no-hands backdrop over the top rope and land flat of your back on the wooden stage, not gimmicked with my crash pad, and see how that feels, and we'll go from there. I'm surprised that any of them get up, but it's ridiculous. And I don't understand if the veterans and people like JR or Tully or Arn or anybody is saying, what the fuck are you guys doing? Stop it. The injuries are going to be ridiculous. You're going to shorten your career, whatever. They're obviously not listening. But if Tony Khan's writing the checks, he's paying for things, then he ought to be the one out there saying, hey, I'm not buying a bunch of paraplegics here. I'm buying professional athletes. So learn to do this shit in such a way that you captivate the audience's attention without having to risk your life and the life of your opponent in every single move. But I don't see Tony Khan as much of a General Patton when it comes to assembling the troops and giving them a rah-rah speech, either in the element of Paul Heyman or Bill Watts or anybody in between. I can see Tony Khan going up there and going, well, thank you guys for all your great work, and we appreciate it, and really it's great, and my booking is great, and you guys are great, and I wish you'd just keep doing anything you want to do.
Did you see that video that AEW Botches Twitter account had of him before the Blood and Guts match, letting people know that there are going to be some tape matches, you're going to be reacting, please react to them on the big screen, and then you'll get the Blood and Guts. If you have a problem, you can get a refund. What I just said, it took him
yes,
a minute and a half, and he couldn't get anything out.
I saw it on Twitter, and I'd watched just a second. I was on it, and then I went back and found it again. And yeah, I've seen guys beg their girlfriends to take them back with more bass in their voice than this guy addressing his fucking fans. Please like that. Please do that. And don't. There's nobody running this fucking thing. The veterans are sitting over in the corner taking their check because they know it's no good. They're just beating their head against the wall because these fucking knuckleheads won't listen because they think that they know everything. And they also think that, well, and to be honest with you, this group of talent, I would say they're 25% of the AEW talent should actually be employed in a major promotion. And the other bunch, the only reason that anybody's watching this shit is because of the goofy shit they do. They know they can't get over any other way, so they're not going to take anybody's suggestion of slow down, be safe, get people into you as a person rather than just a car wreck, because they can't do that anyway if they try. That's why they're not listening. So it goes back to Tony Khan, because he assembled a piss-poor fucking talent roster full of people that are not ready for the big time. And now he's stuck with him. He's been stuck paying them through a pandemic. Goddamn, if I bought a fucking lemon of a car that when I drove it, I had problems with it every time, I'd be pissed off enough. But then if you told me, but you can't sell it for the next year or so because it's a pandemic and people will crucify you for selling that car during a pandemic, oh my God, I'd go out of my mind.
Did you see that Chris Jericho got an injury from the fall off the top of the cage at Blood and Guts?
Besides to his pride? Yes, he did injure his elbow, didn't he?
A dislocated elbow.
See, I told you, They should have gone to somebody else besides Mike Lindell for that crash pad. If Ricky Starks, who has a broken neck, needs a good night's sleep, or if anybody out there just wants to make sure that Mike Lindell goes back to crack, I'll tell you where you can get the best mattresses and the best pillows. You will feel like you're sleeping in a cumulus cloud with no rain in the forecast if you go to Helix Sleep. The Helix Sleep mattresses are custom tailor-made for the way that you sleep and your body type. You go to helixsleep.com, you take a 2-minute quiz with your sleep preferences and side, back, stomach, whatsoever. Do you like soft, medium, firm? They've got cool-down mattresses. They got plus-size folks mattresses, whatever. They will match you with the model mattress that is tailored to your specifications. And then when you order it, it comes in a box that one person can actually move around and put in the right place. And then when you unbox it, it comes to life, and it's like sleeping on a cloud. I've said in the past many times a warm puppy's belly, but Brian, you made that sound weird for some reason, and now I don't even like the comparison anymore. But wherever you're most comfortable, that's what it feels like when you're on a Helix Sleep mattress. And if you go to helixsleep.com/JCE and take the 2-minute sleep quiz, let them match you to a customized mattress. They're offering $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/JCE. It's got a 10-year warranty. You get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. So if you're sleeping on some saggy old bag or next to some saggy old bag, you got to change one of them, and the mattress is cheaper. So give yourself an upgrade to a helixsleep.com mattress today. Well, since we ran down the rabbit hole of right-wing lunatics, I got to bring one up, and we've been talking about this guy for a while, Brian, and at first I was getting tickled just because I'm like, this fucking guy. But now, apparently other people besides me are worried about our friend Drake Wirtz, the referee down in NXT, that he's backed up on the tanning. Either that or he's remembered to include his ears and neck because he doesn't look like he's wearing blackface anymore. He's kind of monotone across his entire skin area, but his brain is turning to jelly. We found out, first of all, talk about building someone in a laboratory that I would dislike. I've always joked about that with Russo. I'm like, we couldn't be any further apart. He's Northern, I'm Southern. He's Christian, I'm atheist. He hates wrestling, I love wrestling. The whole 9 yards, right? But this is a rib. This is like a scientist in a laboratory said, I want to create the human being that Jim Cornette will despise the most. This guy started out as a garbage deathmatch wrestler, couldn't make it that way, so he somehow becomes a referee in NXT. And now we have come to find out over the last, several weeks or longer, he's a Trump-sucking, right-wing religious lunatic that's against masking and any public health measures in the middle of a pandemic because of the child sex traffickers that he believes are hiding behind every bush. Because the pervert, they're not in the pizza parlor basement anymore. Now they've come to Florida, and they're looking for kids in Seminole County.
See, that's the thing, before we go any further. I have friends who are not interested in the masks. They don't want to wear them. They do when they have to, but they hate the masks. They don't want to wear them. They have various reasons. I disagree. I think it's an important thing to do, and I always do it, but I understand, and I get in some cases sympathize with the reasons. None of them have ever given the reason it is to protect the children from all the pedophiles who now can have free reign to just grab kids left and right because you don't know who they are. This guy's nuts. Nuts.
Well, we talked about him last week. I guess it was just a week ago. He actually got into a a city council or county council commissioner meeting, whatever, a local civic meeting, wearing his NXT shirt, zooming in from the performance center to rant and rave about the pedophiles and all the other. And he's a QAnon nut. He loves Trump. He's into the whole fucking thing, right? This week, he missed the NXT TV taping in order to attend a Seminole County school board meeting. And I'm going to give the credit here to PWInsider.com, and our friend Mike Johnson had a big article on this, and I'm going to read some of the article, but we're going to hear this lunatic's own words. So you folks can be the judge, because this is a public meeting and it was on the internet. So it's available. You can hear it other places, but we're going to give you the audio. But basically the article says that Drake Wirtz, aka former deathmatch performer Drake Younger, I guess is his previous name, deathmatch performer, missed last night's NXT taping in order to attend a school board meeting for the Seminole County Public Schools, arguing to the superintendent that, despite the current COVID-19 pandemic, they should refuse the masking of children in schools, claiming that the dangers of wearing the masks outweighs the dangers of COVID-19, and that by not doing so, the school board superintendent was going against the wishes of God. They mentioned some of his remarks. We're going to play the audio, but I gotta bring this up. He argued against the wearing of masks to protect the health of the teachers in the classroom, stating that in Seminole County, in God's country, we put the needs of our children first, citing a biblical verse that states it would be better for an adult to die by drowning than potentially lead a little one to stumble. Wearing masks assists predators who wish to prey on our children. Blah, blah, blah. Teachers would not be able to identify their own students if the students were forced to be masked. Anyway, Wirtz missing the taping last night followed a similar instance last week where Wirtz, wearing his gear, while backstage at the Capitol Wrestling Center, took part in a Zoom call for the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners, a different county meeting, arguing against the local mask mandate being used to protect against COVID-19, citing an online conspiracy theory that child sex traffickers love COVID masks. So Mike mentions that the WWE has instituted a mask policy for those working for the company, and he's publicly arguing against masks while technically in the middle of his workday and wearing company clothing. That has seemed to have turned the tide against him, with some who had previously felt he had every right to his opinion, now feeling he lost that right when he was expressing it on company time. So even the right-wing fuckwits in the WWE that would agree with this idiot are now losing track of him. He also recently took to his Facebook page. You will not hear this audio. This is written on his Facebook page. My wife said some folks are apparently writing about our radical views. Human trafficking is modern-day slavery, and we seek to eradicate it. Abortion is murder and needs to be abolished. So he's one of those too. It all wraps up with the God thing. We'll get there. Children in my community that are being forced by local government to wear masks for 8 hours a day against their parents' wishes is abuse. We have a God-ordained duty to speak up for the least of these and petition our magistrates to prevent harm upon children. If this is radical, then label me an extremist for Christ. Oh, believe me, sunshine, that's exactly what we're labeling you, you fucking dimwit. He goes on to say, we're not called to fit in with the world. We're called to serve God. We ought to obey God rather than men. He's planting a seed there. Right there is his defense. We ought to obey God rather than men, because I'm guarantee you, well, here, as a matter of fact, the last article of this paragraph of this article, rather, a number of WWE talents and staff has expressed concern for Wirtz's actions in recent weeks, and a number have pointed to last night's speech as reason for the company to step in, with one source citing a pattern of behavior that is becoming increasingly concerning, unquote. This guy, we ought to obey God rather than men, has set himself up for a fucking defense, insanity, religion, whatever, when he goes full Carrie's fucking mother on somebody. This is Carrie's fucking stepfather right here. This guy is a fucking lunatic, and you can see the front page of some paper down there in Seminole County, man involved in hostage situation for God. And he said he's married, and he's also in other statements said they've got 2 or 3 kids. Can you imagine those kids being raised like that? Fucking. So anyway, you've got the audio from this guy's wrestling promo ranting and raving about the greatness of Donald Trump, what God needs us to do, and that COVID you shouldn't be worried about, but the pedophiles are behind every fucking bush. Play that Mr. Drake Wirtz here, this fucking moron.
Good evening. My name is Drake Wirtz. I'm a father of 3 young children, a disciple of Jesus Christ, and a volunteer coach for youth sports in our community. Dr. Griffin, Madam Chair, members of the school board, thank you for the time to speak this evening. Dr. Griffin, I want to thank you for your service to our community throughout the years, and I wish you the best of luck in whatever endeavor you have. I bet you didn't think the end of your run would be like this, sir. But on your way out, I do want to remind you of Policy 8421, Section 12, that was spoken of earlier. You, as a superintendent, have the executive power to modify this enforcement. You have the power to put out a verbal memo to every principal and every teacher that this policy will no longer be enforced. You have the power to go out on a high note and unmask these children and make mass tours possible. 10 months, to the rest of the school board, for the past 10 months, concerned parents have pleaded with you in an attempt to restore parental rights when it comes to the health of their children. They have cited science, logic, studies rooted in truth from well-qualified medical professionals to convince you that the harm of forcing a mask on a child far outweighs the risk of COVID-19. Yet you have continued to allow these precious children to be victims of this tyrannical overreach. Masks are dehumanizing. They erase our facial expressions and discourage communication. Children need to see what adults and other kids are feeling. Part of socialization comes from reading and interpreting the facial expressions of others. Masks are encouraging our children to live in a constant state of fear. Let's ponder what a young child's thoughts are on a daily basis as they get on the school bus to come to school. I can't breathe this air. It'll make me sick or it may kill me. I'm going to get in trouble for not having my mask on. I hate this thing, but the adults are making me put it over my face. These are the thoughts that have gone through many of our kids' heads. And last month, Mr. Smith from the Teachers Union made a point to state his concern for the teachers. Well, let me inform you, Mr. Smith, that here in Seminole County, God's country, we put the needs of our children first. The Bible says, if anyone that causes one of these little ones that believe in me to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. When you swore into your office and you took an oath, you said, so help me God. And I can attest to the testimony of that young lady there that is a trained certified volunteer in identifying the effects and harmful signs of child sex trafficking. These masks play into the hands of the predators that want to prey upon our children. Can you imagine trying to identify a child who has a mask on 8 hours a day? This plays into their hands. We do not need to give another tool to those sex traffickers. But beyond that, our Creator is the one who you will answer to. And I can assure you that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is seeing what you've allowed to happen to his precious children. He does not take this lightly, and his word reminds us that whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me.
Please wrap up your comments.
I'm wrapping it up. It's time to right the wrongs that have continued in this district, but your actions have spoken with each vote that you've cast to continue this abusive mandate. This isn't some anti-masker narrative. This is about parental rights. If parents want to mask their children, that's their choice. We, the people, are in charge. We, the people, never gave you authorization to make health choices for our children. So we, the people, all across this beautiful nation, are rising up to take back the rights that you unforgivingly encroached upon. You work for us. You have disrespected and disregarded our voices and our demands. Elections are always around the corner, and we, the people, will make our voices known at the ballot box in response to what you've allowed to transpire during this school year. So in closing, of our beloved 45th President, Donald J. Trump, the most basic duty...
Wrap up your comments.
Defend the lives of its own citizens. Any government that fails to do so is a government unworthy to lead. God bless Florida.
There you go. And by the way, the applause was not from the Board of Commissioners, who were probably sitting there going, this fucking guy again. But you see in the video from the board meeting, it's like the C-SPAN video. There are some people over on the left-hand side of this dipshit that have masks on. There's a couple of ladies of color, a guy wearing a suit and tie, another guy wearing a suit and tie, an older white lady in a sweater, all with masks on and everything. And then there's some fat, white, trailer park trash, Florida, Trump-sucking Republican fucks right behind him doing all that screaming and cheering while he talks about protecting the kids from all the predators that don't exist while they remain unprotected from the pandemic that does, because God. Somebody needs to fucking involuntarily commit this motherfucker before he ends up in the newspaper. I'm calling it. And how many other things have I called lately? I called the football field fuckery too. We'll get to that in a while. As a matter of fact, I've called everything that AEW has done for about the past month. I'm calling this. This fucking guy in 6 months will end up in the newspaper for doing something on behalf of God that calls out the SWAT team. You hide and watch.
His life really got turned upside down when NXT went to Tuesdays. It's like, oh my God, that's my school board night. What am I going to do?
Now I can't go and fucking make a nuisance of myself in front of county government.
What am I going to do? He chose the school board meeting over NXT.
But I mean, seriously, somebody has got to fucking step in with this guy, don't you think?
And his whole argument, it was at one point the masks are dehumanizing. And then later on, it's about the child predators staying away from our kids, and you won't be able to identify the kids because they're wearing a mask for 8 hours. And
I know everybody doesn't need to take this as strenuously as I do, and I've been looking for a reason not to have to associate with other human beings for years. So I'm more than happy to go down that path. But it seriously is a pandemic, and all the Republicans can see, besides the fact when he said, God bless Donald Trump or whatever, fuck. By the way, if somebody can figure out to show him how to listen to a podcast, because they didn't have those back in the biblical days, and I know that's where he's stuck, but I'd like to say, Drake, whatever your last name is, just from me to you, from Jim Cornette to Drake, you Trump-sucking fuck you. I fucking loathe you, and people like you fucking religious fanatic. But what I'm saying is, what are you laughing about? No, what I'm saying is they're so scared of why is it projection? That's what the kids call it when they're so scared of everything that they actually do. They're scared of pedophiles because every time one gets popped for pedophiling, it's a fucking Republican. Or the Democrats just go ahead and just fuck around out in the open because why the fuck not? But the Republicans have to hide it. So then they get found out when they've been paying the hush money, and then they think, well, everybody's a goddamn prevert or whatever. I know there's such a thing as pedophilia, but I believe there's more COVID cases this past year than pedophilia cases. So let's address our priorities here. Well, I don't know what the Republicans are looking for, but they ought to have the people at WWE Treasures try to find it for them, because they can find everything. But the only thing they couldn't find the WCW TV title belt. I don't know where that one is myself, but they found everything else. Did you watch the Booker T WWE Treasures program this week?
I did. I think I may have liked it better than the other ones.
Really? Well, I liked seeing the old footage of Lawler, even though they didn't really find anything, because Bill's had Andy's neck braced for 35 years or whatever. This show seems too easy. They talk about these things that the holy grail items that they want to have and want to recover, and we've got to figure out some way to get these back. And then invariably, without even showing any, I'd get into it if they showed like research, like part of the curse of Oak Island is seeing the procedure that they go to dig all these holes, drill all these holes, analyze all these ores and metals and carbon date all these materials. Here, it's like they don't even tell you that they made 15 phone calls or whatever. They just go to a guy's place and he hands it to them. So there's no search here. And secondly, the items themselves are somewhat specious as far as holy grails because they decided they wanted Booker's king robe from SummerSlam. And we find out by the end of the program, the reason why there's no Booker T stuff out there on the market is because he never sells his shit. And he sold this one for the Houston hurricane relief. And that's how this guy got it. So the one robe that Booker T is actually sold to somebody out in public, that's the one that they had to go back get back. There's no search. There's no triumph. It's like, okay, we're going to talk about this. We're going to show some footage of when it was on television, and then we're going to go try to find it. And the first or second place that they show up, they hand it to them. And then they contrive to haggle over a deal that has already been made. And that's it. And the only bit of intrigue this time was that they couldn't find the original WCW World TV title belt, which I can believe because they said Hacksaw Duggan sold it to somebody in Florida, and I can believe that 20 years ago. I don't know. What did you think? You said you liked it. It's a decent, it's potato chip viewing for an hour, but
That's what it is. It's a stupid, lighthearted, can't take it seriously kind of show where they prearrange with everyone and they set it up. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think this is one of the episodes they tried to get me to be a part of. Because one of the emails I got from A&E was looking for Junkyard Dog memorabilia, specifically boots.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was a big deal. They asked me about the Kane and Undertaker, obviously because of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and so we didn't do posters. I could show you the fucking VHS tape of the match, whatever. But can
you imagine if they came to my house? Can you imagine?
Let's just take you into the Arcadian Vanguard section, and there's the Wrestling News file room, and there's a
Booker T. What are you doing here?
Do you have anything related to Booker T?
To Booker T?
Yeah.
If anything, maybe an early G.I. Bro promo pic, maybe.
It's
kind of the era where I don't really collect things from that era.
See, that's the thing is our collections are mainly more vintage because I don't even collect the magazines after what? When did they downsize the London publishing magazines and use crummier paper? 93. That's when I quit collecting magazines. But anyway, but this show, the premise at the start, when he said, I really like to try to find the WCW TV title belt, they can't say belt. So I'd love to find the WCW TV championship, which Vince has made these people use this verbiage that does not make sense because to avoid saying the word belt. And it's jarring that now some of them don't realize that they're saying words that don't make sense because they think that you call a belt a title or a championship. Booker again said the cover reason for him leaving the WWE was not to go to TNA, but it was to go home and have kids. And did you love these? I just wrote random observations. Stephanie McMahon, these words came out of her mouth. We made the most we could out of the WCW invasion in 2001.
Yeah, when I heard that, because I think she probably believes it. That's the crazy thing.
I think she does because she was still young then. but yeah, let me just remind everybody that, and this does not count for Triple H, but Shane and Stephanie, along with Vince McMahon, never watched any other people's wrestling, ever. And I'm sure that changed when Triple H got together with Stephanie. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Maybe he, watched things in private. But so they didn't have any functional understanding of the guys in WCW, how over they had been or weren't at that point or still were, where they were over in the country, what the whole 9 yards. It was total foreign soil. Where did the guy in New Jersey get all that shit? Where would you get the Stone Cold Steve Austin cooler? Unless he stole it from Mike Chioda at Raw or something.
Yeah, you become friends with the guys who sit at ringside. They'll give you stuff for money usually.
Well, as a matter of fact, I just answered the question and you just confirmed it, didn't I? Because the referees and Chioda and Chimmel and the ring announcers and oh God, what's the guy's name? I can see his face and I can't remember his name. He's a great guy, but he was always around the corner of the ring to make sure all the gimmicks got collected. Anyway, so the guy in New Jersey's got a bunch of stuff. It's all modern stuff. That's where they mentioned that. That's where he got his Booker robe, was for hurricane relief. But then what is it, superhero in training? What's the guy's name? AC?
I forget his name.
I'm thinking of D-Lo, AC Connor, D-Lo Brad, AJ something.
Superstar in training.
AJ Benza. No, he's on Entertainment Tonight or something. Anyway, AJ. He or one of the people made the comment that Booker T was the first black character in wrestling that wasn't presented as a stereotype. I know some people, well, a couple of them are not still living. Ernie Ladd would be fucking wanting to put a size 17 shoe up somebody's ass if he's being portrayed as a stereotype. Bearcat Wright, Ron Simmons. I could go on, but that was...
Maybe they mean everyone who worked for Vince Jr. after he took over the company.
Okay, now, well, and actually, and anybody who worked for Vince Sr. really back in the old day, well, Vince Sr. wasn't that bad. Bobo's headbutt was the closest thing to stereotypical about Bobo, Brazil.
Yeah, and you had Bobo, you had Sonny King, you had Bearcat Wright.
Sonny King was the last thing besides a stereo. Sonny King would fuck you up if you called him a stereotype of a black man. So that was just insulting, because not that there have not, and Vince did most of them, but not that there have not been stereotypical portrayals of African Americans in wrestling, but to say that Booker T was the first one that was not a stereotype is putting the WWE over for being the first one to break that stereotype, when they're the ones that probably perpetuated it more than most other promotions. So it's all self-serving. I despise every time Stephanie McMahon says the word character. Her character was such that she would do this. And Kate, oh, God damn it. They have to just hold you down and slap you about in the face with this is all fake and scripted and phony. They tried to sell they tried to trade Booker's trunks and Charmel's dress and $2,500 for this robe, and the guy wanted the trunks, the dress, and $10,000. So then they go all the way to fucking Texas to visit Steve Austin, because they know the guy's a Steve Austin fan, and he takes the dress, the trunks, and a fucking Skype call from Steve Austin instead of even the $2,500. Is Austin on Cameo?
Yeah, but
if he is, then he could have taken the $2,500 they offered him, but bought the Cameo and still had something left over. Couldn't he?
I was going to say, when he said, I want $10,000, and they said, well, we can't do that, he should have said, well, take it out of your travel budget. Because the whole show, they're flying all over the country. Take it out of that budget, and I'll give you this robe.
Yeah, Instead of buying Booker and you both plane tickets down to Texas and taking that camera crew to shoot Austin, giving me a fucking Skype call on his laptop, just take that cash and throw it in on fucking hell. And I love Steve Austin, but it's the same thing. They had to glorify all of it. Booker was just a get in the ring and wrestle kind of guy. But then when he got to the WWE, then he opened up all the entertainment they did, where they fought in a grocery store and they fought in a fucking gas station and they fought in a library or whatever the fuck. It's getting insufferable that I know that this is a co-promotion with the WWE, but do they have to crow about how great all of their shit was when everything else sucked, when it was the exact opposite of the case, and they've hoked up almost everybody that they've fucking brought in over the last 20 years. It was nice seeing footage of Austin beating Bobby Eaton for the TV title. They went to Florida to look for the TV title belt, and god damn it, I was like, when they pulled up that house, I was like, who the fuck have they gone to see? It's Dan Lambert from American Top Team. I met him at the TNA tapings when Lashley was working with them, and they had the group of shooters that was coming to do the invasion of TNA or Impact or Global Force, whatever the fuck it was back then. And he's a heck of a guy, hilarious fucking wrestling fan. Just he knows everything, and he was cutting good promos too, because he has the gift of gab. But I'd seen some of his belts, but I had no idea he had that many, and those are all originals. He wasn't fucking bullshitting. He has the NWA World Tag Team belt that Raging Bull took off with, that Klondike Bill had just refinished after we lost him, and I wanted to win them back. That's why I got replicas. He's got the national tag team belts from Georgia, Bruiser's WWA belt, 2 or 3 Nikita Milkovich 70s WWF/NWF style belts, the AWA belt, a Southeastern belt. Those were just the ones that I could freeze frame and catch. You had to fucking drool over that shit.
I'm not really a belt guy, but it was pretty cool.
Oh, come on. You got to put something over. Just the history. Look who held Bruiser's belt. Dick the Bruiser. Bruiser Brody. The Masked Strangler Guy Mitchell. All the top stars.
What killed me? In like 96, Harry White, the late great Harry White, said to me, "Oh, Last, I wish I would have known you a few years ago. I would have given you the Missouri State title." Oh. And he meant it because he had it, because he got everything from Pat O'Connor's widow.
Yeah. I didn't know. I never got a chance at the belt. I bought the programs. I didn't even know the belt was around.
I believe he sold it to someone in Japan, but he would have just given it to me. He told me that, so.
Well,
that would have been the start of my belt collection.
I don't know whether I believe him or not. I believe he told you that. I don't know whether when push come to shove, he would have just handed you that belt. When there was Koji in Japan going for, I'll give you 10 grand or whatever.
That's the other thing. I don't think it was even like in the 90s.
Yeah, Koji would have been, 4 years old or something, 30-something.
Well, no, but in the 90s, I don't think it was even like $1,000. I don't think he got that much.
I gave Julie $1,000 for the set of programs in 1990. I would have given her more than that for the belt.
Oh, well, maybe then. Who knows?
See, but don't expect Cornette to be a sucker these days, though, people. I drive hard bargains these days. Anyway, so then they strike out because he has one of the older TV title belts, but he doesn't have the one they're looking for. So they pivot to Junkyard Dog's collar and chain, and they go to ask Teddy Long, which
Teddy, you're black. Where would the Junkyard Dog's dog collar be?
I mean, I love Theodore. I love Teddy Long. We've been friends when did he start refereeing? 1987. We've been friends for 35 years almost. He's been on the show here. I love Teddy Long. They had pictures of Teddy in the same match as Junkyard Dog, and Teddy was not at the time a close friend in Junkyard Dog's social circle, but he is an African-American talent that they have access to. It's either on a Legends contract or just they have access to, that they had pictures of in the ring with the Junkyard Dog. But anyway, Teddy sent them to Illinois to talk to somebody that apparently is an ex-wrestler on the independent scene up there and now has a wrestling collection. And he had JYD's collar. It was never said. I assume that he was probably on a show with JYD and fucking bought it. How would he have gotten it? Was it ever explained how he came in possession of JYD's collar?
Didn't they say it was something with like his grandfather? His grandfather got it, or his dad got it because he was a big wrestling fan, and it wasn't explained how, but
it was starting to get late, and I was starting to get drowsy. But anyway, somehow Teddy Long knew this guy in Illinois, and they went up there, and he had, of course, had the collar. And the way that old what's this? The host name? I keep saying AJ Benza. It's AJ something, not AJ Lee. We know her. Anyway, old AJ said, well, I'll check. And he puts it on. Like, if it fits around my neck, that means it's the legitimate Junkyard Dog collar. I'm glad you're not working for Heritage Auctions, pal. If that's the way you authenticate that. Yeah, this has to be William Shakespeare's robe. He had arms the same length as mine. There you go. I don't know. Maybe next week it'll be more entertaining with Sarge and Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik. Maybe
it should be. It has to be. Although they keep showing the one clip in the preview of Sarge saying he would hit you with that boot and it would just bust you open or whatever. But every time they show the clip of him doing it, it's when the Sheik would send him in, and you know how Sarge would always do that thing where he would jump past the turnbuckle.
He'd go over the top turnbuckle head first into the post and get his juice on the way back. And by the time he landed, he was already bleeding and you never saw nothing.
Yeah, so that's the clip they keep showing when he says he got run into the boot. He got run into the post. Yeah. It's right there.
Well, but the post had a boot on it. Anyway, I guarantee you one thing, that regardless of what they look for on WWE Treasures, right? Regardless of what they look for, they're going to find it, except, you know what they're not going to find, Brian? They're not going to find pubic hair on anybody that's a customer of Manscaped, because it just doesn't exist anymore, because you can eradicate and exfoliate and eliminate those nasty, curly, sweaty, stinky pubes, you know, especially in the summertime, Brian. You got curly pubic hair. It gets sweaty down there in the canyons and the valleys, over there in Death Valley when you go across the crispy canyon and you get into the old Hershey Highway. A lot of crusty stuff comes up. It can stick to the hair. The odor, there's mildew. You don't want that. You want to be, I'm telling you, it's a terrible thing to smell like a man eating Fremunda cheese in the septic tank of a slaughterhouse in between your crotchal areas. It's a terrible thing. And the mildew. And then if you get black mold, you've got to have a crew come in. You got to get those people to come in and, what do they call it, mitigate the black mold, because you'll never get laid again if your crotch gets black mold, folks. Especially if you don't have good homeowners or at least renters insurance. So nevertheless, you can stop all these problems with the fine products from Manscaped and a new product alert, the Ultra Smooth Package. It's a special groin shaving kit, as they say, but I think you can use it in a variety of areas. It helps you buff, protect, and smooth your most sensitive areas. The new crop shaver, the crop exfoliator, and the crop gel. Hold on, I will pick this box up. Right here. The crop exfoliator is a gentle exfoliant for your groin area. And I know that, and it says it in 3 different languages on the tube. Also, the clear groin shaving gel, because you don't just want to do this dry, folks. That would not be good. And then the deluxe, incredible, holy mackerel, it's showtime, the crop shaver. This incredible, small, handheld, but ergonomically pleasing razor with a triple blade and the lubricating strips comes complete in its own little carrying case. It looks like you're opening up designer sunglasses. And you will be slicker than whale shit in an ice floe, slicker than cum on a gold tooth when you finish using these products. The Ultra Smooth package is brand new from Manscaped. And if you go to manscaped.com and use the code JCE, you're going to get 20% off and free shipping, not only on this brand new shaving kit, but on anything site-wide. 20% off and free shipping with the code JCE at manscaped.com. Smooth it out, fellas. Your balls will thank you. And by the way, we mentioned last week on the program that incredible Lawnmower 4.0, one of the, not only the greatest personal grooming product, but also one of the finer appliances that you'll ever put in your home. We're going to keep, if you listen to this program and do what we tell you, folks, we're going to keep you feeling good, smelling good, smooth, slick, soft, everything you need. Boy, I tell you, you could probably slip. Be careful once you finish with Manscaped and exfoliating and also grooming and moisturizing. You might just, when you'll slip down the shower drain, you'll be so slick. Have you tried the new, I'm asking you, have you tried this new shaver yet? This is a badass little thing.
Not yet.
Well, you need to. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Anyway, that's what Manscaped has going on. What do you got going on this week?
Another action-packed week on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. Get information about all shows on Twitter at Superpodcasts or on Facebook, facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. A lot going on this week. Want to make mention of the latest Super Studcast for patrons of Ron Fuller's Studcast at patreon.com/Studcast. Ron talks with Arn Anderson, a man who got his first big break in Southeastern. Hear it today. Arn Anderson talking with the Tennessee stud Ron Fuller. Patreon.com/Studcast. Also want to make mention of the latest episode of Breaking Kayfabe with Baldwin and Barry. Jimmy Golden joins the show. Check it out today at baldwinpod.com or available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. A new short-form podcast is available right now for listeners of the Charting the Territories podcast. It is A Wrestling History Mystery, a new short-form podcast that will also be coming out. In this case, Al Getz examines some of the minor details that pro wrestling lore may have gotten wrong over the years.
What?
On this episode, a wrestler named Johnny Boyd, who isn't that Johnny Boyd. Check it out today at Charting the Podcast.
Wait, a fake Johnny Boyd?
You'll have to hear more from Wrestling History Mysteries and Charting the Territories, chartingthepodcast.com, available wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and of course, the 605 Super Podcast, The Mothership! Not one of my best ones. Go through the archive today at 605pod.com, available wherever you find your favorite podcast. New episode in production right now. The 605 Super Podcast, The Mothership! I don't have it
Too
today.
little, too late.
I don't have it today.
Well, we put it off as long as possible, but we're going to run through the most recent all petite wrestling program for May the 12th on TNT. I put off watching it as long as I could. But, you know, I'm not going to be brutal today because at this point, I'm just kind of shaking my head. The opening match, and people were just up in arms over what I said about poor old Yuji Nagata last week or whenever. Oh my God, he's a Japanese legend. Yes, I'm aware of that. My comment was, who in this day and age in 2021 in the United States of America knows who the fuck Yuji Nagata is? A very small segment of people who were paying real close attention to WCW apparently 25 years ago because the announcers made sure to mention that it had been 23 years since he'd been on TNT. So that gave the modern fan a clue to his age. Him being a generic-looking 50-something-year-old Japanese guy probably gave him a bigger clue. And when Moxley, of all people, treated him like he was a Fabergé egg, that may have given him another clue. I'm not saying he's not a legend in Japan. I'm saying I don't know if a lot of Japanese people might not know who fucking Dutch Mantel is either. But, Brian, help me articulate to the folks who just don't want to listen why I said, why do you just advertise this match like it's a major event? I can understand even if you want to make the New Japan people happy, but expecting people to give a fuck about this and especially to open the show with it. I know they're not opposed anymore, but they're opposed by something on another channel.
The other thing, too, is it's a belt that Moxley apparently has that he wears to the ring sometimes.
Yes.
It's not like it's a belt that he defends every week or you hear about. This is the second time that it's popped up. First time it was Kenta. Now it's Yuji Nagata. But other than that, we've never heard anything about this belt on AEW TV ever.
Well, we know that Tony Khan will spend money for music. Wild Thing. You make my heart sing. So.
Who wrote that song?
The Trogs.
No, they sang the song.
Oh, they sang. Who wrote the song? I see what you're saying. This is a trivia question that I am ashamed that I don't know the answer to.
Chip Taylor.
Now I know why I don't. Who?
You don't know who Chip Taylor is?
Who the fuck was Chip Taylor?
Well, he is. I think he's still alive. He was a songwriter, or he is a songwriter. And he wrote Wild Thing. And he also has a very famous brother. And he wrote other famous songs, which I can look up right now.
Who's the famous brother?
John Voight.
Wait a minute. John Voight's brother is Chip Taylor, who wrote Wild Thing for the Trogs.
That's correct. He didn't write it for the Trogs. The Trogs.
Well, he wrote it, and then the Trogs said, okay, but wait a minute now. He can't still be alive. Wild Thing, what, 1963?
No, it was after that. But
not much.
It was probably 65, but he was born in...
goddamn, 2 years.
Well, it's not 63.
What was this guy, child prodigy? He'd be 95.
He's 81. He was born in 1940.
All right. I didn't carry the 2. Anyway, so the Wild Thing music was the best part of the match.
He also wrote Angel of the Morning.
Merrily Rush? Just call me Angel of the Morning? A very provocative top 40 hit about premarital sex? What is he, some kind of prevert? Anyway, speaking of preverts.
Can I just say, this is one of the things that Tony Khan's been doing that I actually think is good. I mean, we could talk about the choices, but the idea that he's willing to license music.
Yes, I
commercial
just
music.
Last week or on one of the shows, we were talking about Jim Johnston. Should he be in the WWE Hall of Fame? As he's a great guy and did good music as it goes, but I liked when wrestling was under the radar and you could just play music because everybody knows those songs and it gives the vibe. It's not just something written for you and you don't know who the artist is. That doesn't make you look very important. Anyway.
I don't think it works with Moxley, though. Like, even if you wanted Wild Thing, like the version from Major League, they used the Joan Jett version, I believe, which is more... Not that I like that better than the Trogs version,
expensive.
But it's better for getting, like, a crowd reaction. Now it's Moxley coming out to a song from 1965.
But it's cheaper. And then there's the...
MJF's going to come out next week to Take the A-Train.
All right, anyway, but as I mentioned, the music was the best part of it. Brian, you know Japanese wrestling better than I do, especially more modern Japanese wrestling, and you're tuned into many of the fans of Japanese wrestling over the last 20, 25, 30 years. I can understand if a Japanese fan is watching Yuji Nagata say, oh, I get to see this guy. It was a personal appearance in tights. And for much the same reason that Steve Austin, I've mentioned, when he was the most over guy in the business, he stomped a mud hole in a guy and it looked like shit, but nobody saw it because he's Steve fucking Austin. But if this guy is still wrestling in Japan like this, I assume the same thing is going. To the Japanese fans, he's a legend. We're not seeing it. It's him. But for an American fan such as myself that hadn't seen this guy in 23 years and then sparingly, this was fucking rotten. Just watch this match in a vacuum. Don't say it's Jon Moxley. Don't say it's Yuji Nagata. Don't say it's for the New Japan US title. Just say this was a match between two guys. And what part of this match was any fucking good whatsoever? That's a question I'm asking you.
I didn't like the match. It reminded me, it's not as bad, but it reminded me of the last match I saw with Tenryu. Tenryu versus Okada, best wrestler in the world. Again, not as bad, but Tenryu couldn't stand up, and, you know, he was doing his stuff because it was clear that he was being allowed to do his stuff in the ring. It wasn't an actual competitive match. It wasn't to that level, but I haven't watched Yuji Nagata in years. To be honest, even when he was coming up, I was more of an All Japan fan than a New Japan fan. But I'll take their word that he's a legend, but whatever he was doing there was wrestling in slow motion. And I feel bad saying it. But especially some of those kicks, or high legs, boots, I guess, you know, where he lifted a leg up. They looked horrible, I thought.
He moves like Bull Curry when Bull Curry was 65 years old. And at the bell, they started with the phony looking forearms that nobody sold. I defy anybody. Go back and watch this after what I'm about to say and then tell me that I am not telling the truth. They started with the phony forearm exchange that nobody draws back. And even if they're making contact, probably some of them may have been stiff. It just didn't look like it and nobody was selling them anyway. Then Nagata gets on his knees and Moxley kicks him and he asks him to do more. So Moxley kicks him again, but the pace is glacial. They're underwater. Then Moxley stood there and let Nagata kick him. At one point, Nagata had Moxley in the corner and went to shoot him buckle to buckle and just grabbed his arm and jerked and didn't take a step. And Moxley ran 100 miles an hour. It was the ultimate Vader whip. That used to be the thing with Leon. The Vader whip, when he'd just grab you and just jerk your arm and never even go with it. But he was 400 pounds. Then Moxley kneels there and asks Nagata to kick him. And then they exchange the bullshit forearms again. And then that's when I wrote Moxley German suplexed him like he was a Fabergé egg. He almost landed Nagata's ass on his own face by taking him over so easy. One decent bump Nagata took, Moxley hit him with that lariat. But then Moxley goes the top, Nagata gets him and barely throws him off the top. They do more phony forearms. Nagata enziguris him, looks like he slipped and fell backwards and accidentally kicked Moxley in the side of the head. And somehow, in the middle of this slow motion match, Moxley got his eye hard-weighed and started bleeding from the eye. Maybe it was a bootlace. I don't know what it was. Nothing else looked dangerous because all their strikes still looked like shit. And then for the finish, it was the fake Muay Thai knees that Moxley does, where he grabs the guy's head and pulls his head in and just lifts his legs in the vicinity of the guy's face, but never comes in contact. And then the announcers didn't even realize it was his finish until he'd already hit it because they thought it was just a regular double arm suplex, but he turned Nagata, rightfully so. The guy's 50-something years old. His body has to be broken to to shit from wrestling in Japan all those years, but he just picked him up, turned him over. That they called it as Moxley's finish, even though he didn't DDT him. 1, 2, 3. If Moxley is a Japanese wrestling fan, which he is, I'm sure it was a pleasure and a privilege for him to be in the ring with Yuji Nagata from New Japan. And if anybody is a really hardcore Japanese wrestling fan that likes the deep cuts, then I'm sure they were glad to see Yuji Nagata on television. But this was an awful wrestling match. And for the average person in the United States of America, they're like, why the fuck is Moxley wrestling somebody's Japanese grandfather? And I was worried for the guy. It looked like he was going to fucking break. He looks in great cosmetic shape, but you can tell he can't move at all. So, hey, any closing thoughts on that one?
Not really. Beyond the match, because I kind of made all my comments about that. Like I said, I like Tony Khan licensing music. I don't know about the Trogs version of Wild Thing being... Like, if you said, like, pick a song from Moxley,
you know what?
That wouldn't be, like, top 100 of the songs I would have picked.
What, Onita, was it Joan Jett?
I think it was the Joan Jett version, too, because that was the one from Major League. It's better for, like, a stadium or a large group of people to sing along and yell along to.
But I mean, I think Onita used that also because you mentioned Major League, and I'm sure that's where they're going for, because now that their exploding popcorn fart match got people so pissed off, they even the AEW fans were up in arms about it. Onita is starting his own new exploding promotion so he could have popcorn farts too. Except he'll probably really blow somebody up.
And how about the fans who used to complain about when you used, like, older music in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, music from the 70s and 1993. He's licensed the Trogs from 1965, Tarzan Boy by Baltimora from, 1986? And the Pixies from the 80s, too, so.
Wait a minute, let me see, hold on. Just even, let's take 1965 out of the equation, because that's 56 years ago. Let's just go with the 35 years. That would have been like me using music from the late 50s in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Anyway,
just imagine.
Okay, yeah.
Some Carl Perkins while you introduce the Mongolian Stomper.
Hey, don't step on these blue suede shoes, motherfucker. Anyway, Ortiz, Sammy Hagar. Ortiz, Sammy Guevara, and Jake Hager did a promo. I wrote Ortiz, Sammy, and Hager. Now the story is Santana couldn't be here because they had him arrested for using a fork in the match. The match that was filled with blood, that they fucking bashed each other with chairs. They pushed each other off the top of the fucking cage. They tore up the ring and dropped each other on their head on the bare wood. But Santana used a fork and they got him arrested. They can't, even if they needed a cover reason, they can't do better than that. So Ortiz actually did the best promo. Sammy, who's normally very mouthy, was a little stagey here, I thought. Just my opinion. But I hope Santana gets bail soon for that. Maybe he can get Abdullah the Butcher's lawyer, because he got Abby off of using a fork every night for 30 years. But speaking of promos, this was the big one. Cody Rhodes, live in-ring promo, in a suit with a neck tattoo. It looks even more of a poor choice now with the suit on.
You know what? That tattoo is literally like, that's like jumping the shark. You know, jumping the shark, it was a real moment on Happy Days and it became the expression. The moment he got that neck tattoo, everything changed with him.
I know that I'm old-fashioned, wanting a television program to make some chronological sense, but when they came back from the break, well, he came to the ring and then they went to a break. So we'll hook you. You're the stars in the ring. What's he going to say? We'll be right back. Okay, I'll buy that. Couldn't they have come back and said, Cody Rhodes is in the ring, but let's see what happened last week, because he starts the promo talking about that British menace, Anthony Ogogo, and what he did, etc. This was the whole reasoning behind his confusing and jingoistic, somebody said, and the promo for whatever it was. They didn't show why he was saying these things first. Last week, the British guy knocked him out and fucking covered him up with the goddamn flag. 5 minutes into his soliloquy, he referred to some of these things, but couldn't we have taken 30 seconds to just refresh our memories, or in case we were, I don't know, intubated or in an iron lung last week, you'd know what happened if you missed the show. But he just starts with the promo, and he does a Mr. Mackey, okay, within like the first seconds, and then I don't know where the fuck he was trying to do Dusty against the Russians. He was trying to do somebody against the Nazis or the Japanese in World War II, or the terrorists, the Middle East terrorists, or the Iranian crisis, or whatever. The problem is we haven't been at war with Britain since 1812. And he's bringing race relations into this. And yes, the U.S. has problems. Then he doesn't talk about any of them. And then he mentions a couple of problems we've got, but he doesn't say which side of them he's on. And he says that Santana, Skinnerd, and Snoop Dogg are all on his fucking jukebox, which makes me not want to listen to his jukebox because Snoop Dogg sucks. But anyway, he mentions...
No, he doesn't.
Oh, come on. He's the one that started everybody trying to speak fucking Carney with that Snoop Doggy Dogs in his house. It was a slippery slope from there. But anyway, when did Anthony Ogogo run down the United States and talk about the division in the United States and talk about how England or the UK or whatever is so much better when he's been on TV for 3 weeks and he never gets a promo? So when has he been on this anti-American campaign that now Cody is so indignant about? Did I miss it when I was fast forwarding through the commercial breaks?
I have no idea. I mean, he's talked on TV, but if what he was saying was, I'm going to take down your country, I missed that.
So he was trying to do a political speech. He's trying to do Dusty against the Koloffs. Italian immigrants came into it somehow, and a 16-year-old guy from Pakistan that invented the car bumper. I don't know what the fuck was going on there. Atlanta was segregated in 1961, but then he came to tears over his upcoming baby, who's going to be born in Atlanta 80 years later, or 60 years later. But he doesn't want his daughter to think that he laid under the British flag without a fight. And at Double or Nothing, it'll be Ogogo versus the American Dream, Cody Rhodes. This promo wandered around aimlessly like a mental patient walking away from a state home. And the whole thing, we're not mad at the British. And next to their record on relations with black people, we should be ashamed. And it was a political speech wrestling promo searching for a reason to be had. It was like those no good fucking Lithuanians. Let me tell you something. Like I said, at various points, the Nazis, the Japanese, the Russians, the Middle Eastern terrorists. Okay, we were mad at them. And this shit worked. But now the enemy is us. Half the country is fucking right-wing crackpot fanatics that have infiltrated the police and the fucking government, the CIA or the goddamn, what's the agency that monitors threats, both foreign and domestic, whichever. It is said that the bigger threat now than Middle Eastern terrorism or fanatical fucking Islamic terrorism is domestic terrorism. So wrestling hates foreigners, and it's not an old trope, as they say. It's valid now, but we got to be mad at the foreigners for good reason. We were mad at the Nazis and the Japanese and the Russians and the Middle Eastern terrorists for good reasons. Now, not so much. And I don't know what that guy from Pakistan that invented the bumper had to do with this.
Yes, you do.
What does a car bumper have to do with this?
Who's the Pakistani guy that invented the bumper?
I don't know. He didn't
Shad
say his
Khan.
name. Are you kidding?
Remember we talked about how he made his money on bumpers.
Oh my God. I didn't put two and two together. Cody went from Italian immigrants to 16-year-old Pakistans that invented car bumpers. I didn't know what the fuck he was. So he was patronizing his patron at the same time as he was doing all the rest of this. But we couldn't figure out which side we were supposed to be on. Anyway, as a matter of fact, somebody wrote an email about this. I don't know if I'll read the whole thing or not. It's very lengthy. It's very perceptive also, but it's from Jack. And he's not a regular viewer of today's wrestling, but he follows our shows and he catches snippets on the internet. So following the uproar that he saw regarding Cody's promo, he gave it a watch. What a cringy, clunky, tone-deaf promo on his part. I mean, what the fuck? I suppose I get what he's trying to accomplish, playing up the old American versus foreigner trope. But with everything that's been going on in our country the past several years and beyond, he just came off privileged and incredibly out of touch. Talking about race, bringing up segregation to make the point that just because legally it's supposed to be gone, things now are better. Just fucking no. I'm normally not the sort of person who thinks politics and heavier topics should be kept out of sports and entertainment, but in this case, perhaps it should be. Cody simply isn't smart or articulate enough to handle this. He lacks the gravitas to be taken as seriously as he desperately wanted to be, and the neck tattoo does him zero favors on top of that. This felt unnecessary and to some extent phony, like Cody was trying to have some insightful, triumphant moment that was not at all organic or natural. Yeah, there's another. Dusty had a unique likability to even just that face, just that fucking saggy, fat-jowled puppy dog face, and then he'd say those things. And also, he had Russians to talk about. Nobody liked the Russians. Or he had the terrorists talk about. Nobody liked the terrorists if he was fucking with the Iron Sheik. But we're not mad at the British. So I don't know. Closing comments on Cody.
No, this was a mess. What was the point of it? Whatever he had in his mind, it made no sense. I mean, just again, like you said, we're not at war with the British. The British flag was placed on him. Apparently that has triggered him to come out here and give a tearful speech to talk about whatever he was saying. He's having the first interracial baby of all time. I don't even know what he was saying out there. And he was,
God damn you, I almost did the fucking spit that our viewers accuse us of. When you say first interracial baby of all time.
But like, really, what was he talking about? The guy put the flag over him. All of a sudden, it's a whole speech about human rights, and he's going to be a dad, and he needs people to work with because no one wants to work with him. You know, you brought up they should have shown a promo package. It got me thinking when you were saying that. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. That Camarato guy had the wooden folding chair broken over his head.
The tiny dollhouse gimmick wooden chair.
I remember when that happened to Big Bubba Rogers, and then they showed that clip on TV over and over to get over the fact that he was so big and tough. He didn't go down.
Yeah, he didn't knock his hat off.
Didn't knock his hat off. Have we seen one replay or heard one mention of Nick Camarato being so tough that the chair was broken over his head?
Well, no, because
they just did it, and then that was it. They did it. We did it to do it. And now it's done.
They can't replay it again because so many people laughed and hee-hawed and guffawed about it because it was such an obviously phony chair that was built for that nobody would ever have sat in. It looked like it came out of a fucking daycare center. So they do these things, they can't fucking take advantage of it because it looks so shitty the first time. People laugh. Anyway, Well, the tag team title match that we've all been waiting for, SCU versus the Cucamonga Kids. And of course, the stipulation, which we all knew what the result of this was going to be, is that SCU now has to split up Daniels and Kazarian, since their other member, Scorpio Sky, without ever having any interaction with them whatsoever, has just become a fucking despicable heel. He just left them and they don't speak anymore. And he's a heel with that fucking goof Ethan Page. And meanwhile, Daniels and Kazarian were stone cold babyface here. And then got fucking buried. I guarantee you, because Chris Daniels is a smart guy, and I like Daniels and I like Kazarian. I've liked them as wrestlers, as people. They were fun to fucking work with and be around. Daniels, for his age, is still in amazing shape. Kazarian's always been a wonderful worker and a great athlete. And somewhere or another, the Bucks managed to convince them that they were going to fucking come out looking decent in this match the way they did this finish, and then switched it around to where they just beat them and made shit out of them. And I'll explain how they did it. But is it long-term storytelling, Brian, from the Booker of the Year, if you announce a stipulation 6 months ago, you hardly ever see the guys involved in it for 5 months, and then reiterate it for 2 weeks and then break the team up? Is that long-term storytelling?
No.
Okay, I will agree with you, even without being impaired, as you often are, that the Bucks are more natural as heels because they're such smarmy, obnoxious little pricks that you hate them on sight to begin with, so when they encourage it, it is easier. However, this was a Bucks match, and Daniels and Kazarian just are, grown adult men who are better workers to do the moves that the Bucks always do with everybody else. And they went through a break, but then they started turning it up a notch when old balding Buck on the floor, Chris Daniels is standing by the ring post on the floor, and balding Buck super kicks Daniels and his head goes into the post, and he goes down and he gets major color. And amazingly enough, he both was professional enough to do it, and the cameraman, for apparently because they got blistered last week, didn't actually shoot it, so that was a well-done deal. Of course, the Cucamonga Kids' favorite referee, Rick Knox, was the referee of this thing, and the reason for that is because so they can do everything that they want to do without any regard to the rules, and this guy is such a feckless, limp-dicked fucking official that he does nothing about it. You know, Rick Knox walked past a cemetery last week. 2 guys ran after him with shovels. Did you hear about that? He's in bad shape. Anyway, so they did all the things that Bucks do to Kaz then while Daniels was down. And that's the idea. I saw what they were going for here. Boom. Daniels hits the post. He goes down. He's bleeding. He's on the floor. Now it's 2 against 1. The heels against poor Kazarian. And they get heat on him. And he fights and sells. But they got him going. And suddenly there's enough of a break to where that Daniels has struggled back to the ring. And now Daniels reaches over and tags back in. Right? Now they're minutes away, if that, from going home. They've established that the heels, through that one thing with that super kick on the floor where Daniels' head went into the post, changed the whole course of the thing. They worked Kazarian over. Daniels saw his partners in need. He tags himself in even though he himself is injured and gloriously tries to fight on. But the bloody mess, he gets shut down and beat, right? No, that's not right. That would have been right, but that's not what they did. Daniels tags back in, and now they start kicking the shit out of him again, and his selling and his body language is great. He's bloody, he's staggered, he's selling. But now they go so long, and he lasts so long, then he came back. He came back enough, not like 100 miles an hour, but he came back enough that it negated what they were trying to do. And not only did he come back enough that it negated what they were trying to do. But by the time that they were ready to beat Daniels, Kazarian was back up and had to be super kicked back down. So the whole idea is you beat Daniels, the guy that you injured out on the floor illegally, before the guy that you've been 2-on-1ing can recover. But then, not only did they super kick Kaz back down, and when Daniels went to pick up Pieface had an aerosol can, sprayed him in the face with the can, and then hit him on top of the head, and down goes Daniels, cover, 1, 2, kick out. That was the 2 count. Now, not only, but the reason why that the finish that they were trying to do, that they didn't accomplish, doesn't get heat on the referee is because they've hurt the one guy. They 2-on-1 the other guy. When the first guy that's been hurt tags himself back in without his partner's knowledge to save the day valiantly, they need to shut him down and beat him. But instead, they give him a comeback. Then they knock his partner back down. Then there's a fucking spray in the face. Now you're burying the referee who's being distracted and not seeing all this shit go on in the ring. Then the 2 count from the spray in the face and the hit with the can, they've botched the whole finish. Then they just picked Daniels up on his knees and did their shitty little double knee lift right in front of the referee that looks like shit and pinned him off of that. So after all that they did, they went so far, they let the guys come back, and then they just beat them flat. The heel fuck that they tried to do would have got heat on the referee, but at least that would have been better, because at least that would have not buried Daniels and Kazarian completely. That after all they'd been through, they got fucked with the spray can, but they couldn't even do that. That would have put heat on the referee, but what the fuck? The referee's already got heat because he's incompetent. But then they have him kick out of that, and then they just do their little fucking shitty little knee. So they beat Daniels and Kazarian flat without an out, of which they could have had several, and now they got to split up. That is the stupidest, and I guarantee you some way they sold to Daniels and Kaz, yeah, do this because you'll come out looking better and you'll have an excuse because we did this stuff, which they would have if they'd have stopped anywhere in the last fucking 5 to 7 minutes. The psychology of this was fucking rotten. Your thoughts?
It's one of those matches you immediately know who's going to win, who's going to lose. It was all right for what it was. Nick Jackson's really getting into his new look. Nice to see.
What, bald?
Well, no, he's growing the facial hair. He looks even more douchey. Matt's just being Matt, but it's nice to see Nick hamming it up a little bit. Gallows doesn't need to be he's a goof at this point. Wearing Billy Graham's shirt from 1987. Go back to Impact.
It's something about this company, even people that you thought before when you saw them somewhere else, now they show up here and it brings out the worst in the silliest in everybody.
You said before that they just announced it in its long-term booking. You were making fun of that idea. Apparently, this is something that has been going on for a long time on YouTube. The idea that if they lose, they break up. We've just seen it on the main show for the last few weeks.
Okay, and this, I'll bring this up real quickly, and then we'll move on. I won't go into a whole dissertation on it. But what the fuck with this YouTube bullshit? The idea is you have a national fucking television show. Promote the YouTube events on your national TV show. Don't fucking do shit on YouTube. So if people don't see that, they don't understand your television show. That's ass backwards again. And because I get these AEW apologists saying, well, if you watched the YouTube show, then you'd understand all this. No, if they wrote a good television show on TV, I'd understand it. Because there would be clips from the YouTube show explaining it. Where's Paul White? One of the biggest celebrities they signed. He comes on their TV show on the TNT network for 2 weeks, and then I guess he's doing announcing on YouTube. He can't host a fucking interview? Just that you have Paul White working for your company, but he's never seen on television. For fuck's sake, but we get plenty of whatever the girl interviewer backstage's name is, and Tony Schiavone is everywhere. Not that anybody ever speaks to him. They're always attacked first, but he does every interview. But I understand, and it would be a good thing for them on their television show to promote and all these extra matches with these wonderful stars you'll see on the YouTube programs. But if you're going to do something on YouTube that requires people to see that to understand the television program, you need to bring it back from YouTube and put the VTR on fucking TV. Because some people have lives and don't want to see all this silliness. Anyway, speaking of silliness, so Christian Cage comes in as the closest thing they get these days to a legend, WWE legend that can still go in the ring. And the big signing and the big announcement, it's a big thing. He's going to outwork everybody. And he's cutting a promo here on Team Taz. And Christian's well-spoken. Even if it's scripted verbiage, he delivers it with enough emotion that you don't immediately see that as a red flag. He's challenging next week. He's got an open contract. Anybody in Team Taz, I'll take you on, and I'm going to win the Casino Battle Royal. We got to look at another one of those things. And guess what happens? Matt Sydal interrupts him. Matt Sydal, who we just saw 2 weeks ago with his brother, is a babyface. And they were a babyface tag team. Now Matt Sydal comes in and interrupts him and says that he has signed the open contract, and Christian, you're going to have to fight me next week, and then we'll see who's going to win that casino. So Matt Sydal has not won one match since he's been back with, or not back, but with this company, and he's been a babyface, and Christian's a babyface, and now Matt Sydal comes out and interrupts Christian as an obnoxious heel and is signed to meet him and is going to prevent him from doing the things he wants to do. What the fuck is going on here?
I'm not exactly sure. The booking of Christian since he has come in has been questionable.
What about can't they even write down, hey, 2 weeks ago, Matt Sydal was a babyface. We should probably have a heel come in and be a prick to Christian.
Well, if you remember from interviews with Cody Rhodes months and months ago.
Well, Cody Rhodes' interviews can blow it out my ass.
AEW doesn't use any of those tired old tropes like wars with the British or any foreign wars. No, they say they have no baby faces and heels. Maybe that's why.
And they're right, they don't. And that's why all their shit sucks and none of it makes any sense. Then the next match, at least we get to save some time. Pockets versus Pac. And the only reason I watched any of this is because I heard that it had a really botched finish, right? So I thought, well, I'll skip ahead to that. And poor Pac, I think he could have been a contender. He's got a great physique. He does that thing where he has to take 10 or 15 seconds to get his balance on the top rope. Why a guy that works like that, has a body like that, whatever the fuck's jumping off the top rope is beyond me anyway. But he's got physical potential. If he had somebody training, coaching, producing, whatever, he does good shit. He looks like a badass. He's got a great physique. He does the same goofy indie style shit that a lot of the other guys do and all the dives and everything, and that takes away from it. But he could have been, you could buy this guy as somebody. But between the bad booking, he had to take a long break for COVID because he's international talent. Now they're booking him in a fucking comedy match with the goddamn mascot. I'm embarrassed for anybody that has to put up with this Minor league, that's what he reminds me of. Pockets is a minor league baseball mascot, just with no funny, floppy, furry head on. It's funny for 30 seconds if you've got a hot dog and you're not really paying close attention. But if you have to watch this guy for 15 minutes with nothing else to do, what the fuck, right? So, of course, they give this goof 15 minutes of national TV. So I fast-forwarded it, and Pockets was laid out and unconscious, and I said, okay, something's happened, so I backed it up. Apparently, this is what happened. Pac does a head palm shoot-off. Just puts his hand on the back of this clown's head, and immediately the clown runs into the ropes. And he super kicked him, and it looked pretty convincing. So that might have been it, because he went down and stayed there, but immediately Pac snatched him up, gut-wrenched him, power-bombed him right on top of his fucking head. So that could have been it. And because that's not supposed to be the finish, old Pockets turns his shoulder and does kind of a weak kick out, and then referee Aubrey starts checking on him. And then Pac kicks him out to the floor, and they go to the break. But they still have picture-in-picture. Brian, for once, I watched the picture-in-picture. Oh, my fucking God. Oh, my God. The referee tells Pac, hey, he's fucked up. She checks on him. Pac is running around killing time. Referee Aubrey starts counting him out, slowly. But Pockets beats the count. But still can't do it. He's still fucking practically jelly-legged. So they've got the chance. Pac covers him, 2 count, kick out. And then Pac gets a long headlock, and then they started having a match again. How can they not stop this? I wasn't worried about Pockets' well-being. I wish brain damage on this annoying fuck. I don't give a fuck. But it was horribly fake pro wrestling on television. They're having a fight, an athletic contest, a wrestling match, whatever you want to call it, and one guy is knocked down and can't continue. Doesn't that mean the other guy wins? Even if it's not supposed to be the finish? How else can you do it? It was 20 seconds that Steve Austin was paralyzed, and Owen Hart figured out a way to fucking wander around and back up and fall over him. This was a 3-minute commercial break, and they tried to start a match again, but he couldn't do it. And then by the time they're back, he still can't go. And then by then, the Booker of the Year has thought of a brilliant way out of this. Instead of just telling the referee on the IFB, ring the bell, he can't continue. If we have to, we'll rematch it next week. He might have brain damage. We're not sure. They already had one motherfucker break his neck on their television program 3 weeks ago and not sell it and continue on. So anyway, it was horribly fake because it was obvious that they were trying to kill time. And then the Booker of the Year sends out Don Callis to distract the referee so Twinkle Toes can come in and knock Pac out with the belt 5 feet behind the referee's back, but she doesn't hear that. And then she turns around and both of them are laying there. And she goes, what happened? Remember when referee Aubrey, we used to say at the start, she has some authority to her. Well, they finished that off. So then she counts both of them out and then goes to check on Pockets again because she knows he's really hurt, as opposed to the other guy laying there face down who's working hurt. And then Callis and Harpo are happy that they've got no opponent for the pay-per-view until Tony Schiavone comes out to make the new pay-per-view match, which was the old pay-per-view match because apparently they have told everybody it was supposed to be a 20-minute draw. These assholes were going to go another 5 minutes of this shit. And then it was going to be a 3-way for the title with Pac and Pockets versus Twinkle Toes. Oh, joy, oh, bliss. Because everybody knows that'll sell the pay-per-view out. So the Booker of the Year couldn't think fast enough to just get his potentially brain-damaged fucking wrestler out of the ring. He left him in it through a commercial break and trying to start a match for another 3 minutes or so before they could figure out a way to come out and hoke it up any further and make it look worse. And now they are actually having a match on a pay-per-view that people have to spend money for their world championship, with Twinkle Toes defending against Pac and Pockets in a world championship match. Let that sink in. If he makes it, because he may be in an iron lung by then, because who knows how badly he may have been hurt. We can all cross our fingers and hope it's whichever way you want it to go. Was that the stupidest bunch of shit you've ever seen in your life?
It was up there. I don't know about the stupidest, but now we get a three-way match, Orange Cassidy versus Pac versus Kenny Omega.
How many times would I have thrown a shoe through the TV screen if I'd have watched the actual match that led up to the botch?
Twice, because then you would have run out of shoes.
Good point. Okay. And then Adam Page did a promo, and the whole Dork Order was around him. Colt Cabana is getting paid for this, folks. I'm kind of happy for Colt at this point. He's getting paid to sit there in the back row and stare at a bunch of these fucking goofs that are just happy to be on television as they surround Adam Page as a literal visual albatross around his neck, keeping him from becoming the star that he may at one point should have been, because now he's in the middle of a bunch of fucking interchangeable mass job guys. And Page wants somebody in Team Taz, but I didn't pay attention because this whole group makes the oddities look like the Four Horsemen. So fuck
He wants
that.
Brian Cage, because Brian Cage beat him on TV.
Oh, that's right. Cage and Page. And yeah, with the other Cage and the other Page. The live Pinnacle promo in the ring with girls and decorations and a podium and MJF with a crown because he's the new demo god. And I found out shit I didn't know. Sean Spears is a Canadian. I thought he was a comedian. Tully Blanchard, actually, once they let Tully speak, he won't shut up. And I enjoyed this. It was even better than because MJF always does a pretty good promo, obviously. And none of the rest of them I'm really, can say that about. But Tully, they actually let him go this day. Gave him all gold watches. I wish he'd have retired a few of them, but no. But anyway, so Tully gets the promo done, and they're crowing and they're celebrating. They have 1 week that they've had heat. And remember, of course, the swirly and all that stuff. So they actually won the first match. They have heat for a week. And then the horns honk, and here comes the dinner circle pulling in. And was that a Tonka truck? What kind of vehicle was that? Was that an all-terrain vehicle or something pulling the trailer that they had the tank on? The water tank, I mean.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but how many cars have shown up on Dynamite just honking the horn?
Well, yeah, and whenever you hear a horn honk, you know an accident's about to take place.
Didn't it just happen 2 weeks ago? Moxley was honking the horn.
Yeah.
At the Elite when they were in the trailer that he rammed into, and then they were all gone mysteriously.
So out comes 3/5 of the dinner circle. You've got Ortiz, you got Sammy, and you got Hager. And Jericho was hiding behind the truck, which we could actually see at one point through the truck when he was hiding behind it. We could see through the window. And MJF won't agree to a rematch. So what do you do when the heel that's just won the first match won't agree to a rematch? You redo not one, but two old WWF angles. And they shot him with a garden hose of the bubbly. Tony Schiavone loved it because I guarantee you he didn't see either one of the first two. This was so bad. It's cosplay wrestling. It's a cover band. It's an homage at this point. They did the Bruno and Zbyszko angle. They do dusty promos. They do they try to do this fucking finish or that fucking finish from history. And they don't get it. And now, instead of Steve Austin coming out with in a legitimate fucking truck that he actually, was that the one he moved? No, he ran into the ring with the Zamboni and moved the ring. But a legitimate fucking truck into a major fucking NBA arena with a legitimate fire hose with pressure of same. Or even with Kurt Angle with that milk truck where they had a fire hose and if you go back and look at I think AEW Botches did a split screen. Austin had the fire hose at the ring apron, shooting it under the bottom rope, hitting people right, knocking them fucking down. Angle with the milk, it was white, it was flying everywhere, and they're slipping. Every single one of these heels that were allowed to get heat for one fucking brief week then had to put over, be scared of, take bumps for, and slip around in a guy 30 feet from the ring with a garden hose. And they're just bumping and flying and slipping for water that's barely reaching them. And the only way you could tell MJF was wet is because his pink suit got darker. Was I just imagining that I saw a guy with a garden hose from 30 feet shooting water on grown men that were taking bumps for it because that's the way that the WWF did it 25 years ago with Austin?
I don't know if I would say garden hose, but it was a hose.
Was there enough pressure that would have knocked a man down at 10 feet, much less 30?
No.
How about 5 feet?
And it's impossible for anyone to watch that with knowledge of the previous time, specifically Austin more than Angle. It's impossible for anyone to watch that and not immediately think, oh, they're copying the Steve Austin beer truck angle.
It's an homage. It's a cover band. It's what did we think were cool when we were marks? Or I can't say that because that would indicate that they're no longer marks. When we were younger marks, what did we think was cool? Let's copy that. Except we don't really have the personality for it, and we don't understand why they did it to begin with, and we're not going to make it look as good, but everybody will know what we're copying.
So this is now twice in a year that there's been a big liquid angle, because, of course, Orange Cassidy dropped orange juice all over the inner circle, and now they are spraying bubbly on this other group. And as we said, multiple interviews interrupted by a car, multiple cars just showing up in the middle of the show and people getting out and walking right to the ring.
Oh, and the best part is because of the humiliation of being squirted by that garden hose that they could have gotten out of the way of by just walking over to the other side of the ring and jumping down on the floor, and they would have been fine. MJF agreed to face them, but it must be in a... We need a drum roll sound effect. I just called this last week in a stadium stampede. Because I said, now the problem that they've gotten themselves in, when they booked themselves into a situation where the heels had to win the ultimate blow-off match, then how do you follow that for the babyfaces to win? What, another stadium stampede? So now they're going to follow attempted murder with sketch comedy. And poor MJF has to say, well, it's not going to be any of the comedy stuff like you guys did. What? No. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be 10 guys having a fight on a football field. You can't make that serious for 30 minutes that it's going to last, especially with the contrived, ridiculous setup stunts they're going to do. And you can't tell me that 10 of these guys, led by, the master over the hill gang, demo god himself, Benny Hill Jericho, are going to play this straight. So they got heat on this new heel group after they got heat on them in the original TV segment that they appeared in. They took every single bit of it off and more the following week when they flushed them all down the toilet, literally. Then they cut promos for the blood and guts match where the fucking baby faces promised they were going to kick even more shit out of the heels, which they did, except the heels managed to win the match, even though the finish was a visual embarrassment and people laughed at it. And they got to run with that heat for 7 days until they were garden hosed like two dogs fucking on the side of the road. And now in 2 weeks, we got to look at football field fuckery number 2, where they will comedically beat these heels again. And I don't know why they don't just piss in their mouths while they're down there. Oh, and we know that they're gonna lose because the dinner circle's got to break up if they lose. So the Pinnacle is doomed.
So now it's been, I mean, it was just on this show, another team that had to break up if they lost a match. Same stipulation, a few segments later. And again, War Games set up the football field match. Think about that. War Games was a setup to this.
I know you were displeased. Jane Cargill's interview that we were awaiting with bated breath was taped, goddammit. Taped, I say. They ain't gonna trust her again on live TV, and that's when the horribleness and awfulness of it really provides the optimum entertainment value. You think she's gonna pick Mark Sterling over Vicky Guerrero or fucking Handsome Johnny Starr or Wild Red Berry or whoever their other managers are? I can't even remember now that have made offers to this lady.
She should go with Jake.
I bet you Jake could fucking figure out a pretty good way to talk her into it.
Did you see the women's match they announced for next week?
No, I didn't.
Serena Deeb versus Red Velvet.
They're both baby faces, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that makes sense.
Don't let a small thing like that get in your way.
Anyway, let's get to the main event of this journey through hysteria. The black and white video of Darby driving through and walking through the slums of Seattle was, I'm sure, some people like that. It wasn't a promo. It was a scripted atmospheric video, and he, in his monotone voice, just says things. After you've thrown me down the stairs, I'd be a little more pissed off. Wouldn't you? And he just wanders around these. I guess this was Seattle. I guess he's from Seattle. Maybe he lives in Seattle now. He took his camera and found some slums somewhere with graffiti on the walls and everything. But what did this tell me about what he was going to do about the people that threw him down the fucking stairs?
I think it said that no matter if you throw him down the stairs or you take his TNT title, you can't take anything away from his
slums.
No matter, even if you take those titles, you can't take his love of film away from him.
You can take the boy out of the slum, but you can't take the slum out of the boy. Okay, so now the TNT TV title is on the line. Darby Allin with Sting against Miro Bluto, but now he's a monster. And the heel comes out, and he has no seconds. He has nobody in his corner, but the babyface does. He's got a babyface icon in his corner. And now Miro is a monster. Another brand new outfit. This time he's got gladiator shorts on. But this Miro, if this had been, because remember I never saw, what was his name before, Rusev? I never saw Rusev, right? So when I first saw Miro on this program, well, this guy's a fucking shits. He's an idiot, right? Because he's with little Pip Sabian and his virginal girlfriend. And he's wearing pink Mickey Mouse t-shirts, and they're fighting over video games, and they're doing stupid, scripted, funny comedy sketches. And I'm like, well, this is a fucking moron. Now he's a monster. Now he comes out. Of course, it's too late. The old saying, better late than never. Sometimes never is better, because why? At this point, it makes no difference, except now the poor baby faces have to get thrown around like sacks of shit from this monster. It's too late for him to get over because everybody's already seen him playing the games and playing kissy face with little Pip and wearing his pink slippers or whatever. But he comes out as a monster. He jumps Darby Allin. He kicks the shit out of him. He takes him out on the floor. He bounces him off the floor, bounces him off the guardrail. Sting is standing there watching this. And then I thought it was a jump start and a ding ding and the match had started. That's when they went to the floor and just stayed there. The announcers, one of them, said, well, the match hasn't even started yet. And then I'm like, God damn. So Sting is standing there watching this guy jump Darby from behind her when he was coming through the ropes before the bell, beating the piss out of him, and Sting's just standing there watching it, and it's not even the match. The match is not even going on. With friends like that, who needs enemas? What the fuck? It buried Sting. Sting was coughing dirt out of his mouth this whole time. Miro tossed Darby into the crowd and went after him. Sting never moved. He never made an effort to do it. Then at one point, Miro walked towards Sting, and Sting bowed up and stayed right in the same place, and Miro turned around and kept kicking the shit out of Darby. What the fuck are they doing? Then, after they said the match never started, which at that point was news to Darby Allin because he'd had the shit kicked out of him, Darby rolls in the ring, and the referee is now asking him again, like they did 2 or 3 weeks ago, if he can go. Do you want to go on? And he says yes, while he can still hardly move. I explained it then. I will explain it briefly again now. That's fucking stupid, and here's why. They're copying the angle where the babyface, against all odds, wants to come back, wants to triumph, wants to engage in his fight, wants to get his title opportunity. I sound like Vince now, wants to get his title shot, his opportunity at the title. And he says, yes, ring the bell, I want to continue. It doesn't work when it's the babyface champion that has been jacked around by the fucking heel challenger. That makes no sense. Asking if he wants to go. No, I don't want to go on. The fucking guy jumped me. I'm the champion. Fuck him. Disqualify him. I'm leaving. That would be if the logical thing hadn't happened yet and Sting hadn't gone over there and gotten a fight with Miro because, hey, fuck you. It's my boy here and you fucked him around. The babyface wants to fight when he's got something to gain. Or when he hasn't been just destroyed physically, if he's just been jumped and beat up and somebody comes and makes a save and he fucking throws his shit off and down and says, all right, come on, we're going to get started. And now they lock up, boom, 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 and hit. That's fine. But not in this instance. It makes no sense. And then when the referee does ring the bell, start the match, and Miro gets back on him, starts kicking the shit out of him more. But then Darby Allin makes a comeback and actually hit a real-looking dive. Did you see the dive? He just caromed off of him like a fucking billiard ball. That looked real. And then took a fucking German suplex on the floor as a break spot. So they go to the break. Apparently, during the break, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page come from where they're sitting in the stands and attack Sting. And all through the break, while Miro is getting heat on Darby Allin, all the way through, Sky and Page had attacked Sting and then left. And when we come back from the break, Sting is okay. He's back standing on his feet and he's watching the match. Am I misrepresenting anything here?
No, not yet. Not so far.
Okay. So now the heat on Darby Allin continues. It's the best Miro has ever looked. But at what point does it bury the Bulgarian Bluto that he can't beat a guy 100 pounds smaller than him that he jumped before the bell and has cheated and beat on ever since? And still. Then finally, forever, Darby Allin gets a sleeper on Miro on the floor with the referee standing there not counting, just watching. They're out on the floor. Count! And then Darby gets run into the fucking wall, and it went longer. And Miro started tossing him around fairly recklessly, which is not going to prolong this idiot's career any, because we know he's already going to cripple himself. And finally, Darby rolls over Sellin and looks at Sting, and Sting looks at Darby. And Sting gave Darby a fist bump. What the sum total of support that this fucking guy has gotten from Sting while he's been maligned and fucked with is a fist bump. Thanks, Dad. And then Darby Allin makes a comeback and hits multiple false finishes. after this guy 100 pounds bigger than him has been kicking his shit out of him for 20 minutes. And then he makes his comeback, multiple false finishes. And then suddenly Miro gets the camel clutch and leans all the way back on it. Darby Allin didn't tap. The referee stopped it. Miro would not let go of the hold. He was still cinching it up to where the announcers were like, come on, let go. And is Sting standing there watching? Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page come out and jump on him again. And they knock him down again. And then the Dark Order runs out and is running after Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. And my DVR froze up because they were so close to going off the air without even getting a finish in that it was that quick. And thanks for coming, Sting. They have managed to make Sting look like a spare prick at the wedding. Sting is useless. Sting is tits on a boar hog. They have decimated Sting. Sting! It's Sting! From now on, it's going to be, it's Sting. That takes talent. They have taken a guy who survived all kinds of screwy booking for years in TNA and WCW and was still an icon. And they have made him look like the next best thing to a shit-faced drunk. It's just standing around watching his guy get humiliated, fucked around, beat up, and underneath guys come and attack him and leave at will, and he gets no response whatsoever and does nothing about it and doesn't even seem upset. What'd you think of that main event there, young Brian?
Well, it did go on a bit long, and the Sting stuff was ridiculous, but you kind of touched on my big takeaway. I always told you that I thought Miro or Rusev had a lot of potential. And if you had brought him to AEW and used him like this,
yeah,
I think it would have made sense. This is exactly the kind of potential I was talking about, what he showed here. The last 5 months or more, whatever it was, of him as the best man, which is still on the screen, but the ring announcer doesn't call him the best man. Now he's just Miro. No sign of Kip or Penelope anywhere here.
Well, no, he hospitalized Pip. Remember, he slammed the door on his arm.
Oh, that's right.
His friend. He just beat him up for no reason and fucking hospitalized him.
But man, if you had used this guy out of the gate like this, he'd mean something.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder why they didn't, if this is where they were going to end up anyway.
Because they didn't know this was where they were going to end up. Because they thought the idea that they had, that they ran with for the past 6 months, was brilliant. Until they saw that it was fucking rotten. And that nobody gave a shit about this guy, and he was a fucking punchline and a joke to everybody. And then when he threatened to come all over me on Twitter, for heaven's sake, people were laughing at him. And somebody finally said, you ought to make that guy a big monster, because a big, dull-witted fucking muscle guy that speaks in an accent in broken English, is he going to be a best man at a wedding or a fucking monster? But no, they didn't mean to do this. This is just where they ended up after they exhausted all the other stupid ideas they had.
In terms of cars, I was thinking about this from earlier. FTR drove up, I remember that, and then their car was stolen.
Yeah.
Trent's mom.
They had that cool vintage kind of truck thing that the first week the baby faces took away from them, and then we've never seen it again.
Cody drove up in a truck once too, remember? Because then all of a sudden we had a camera of him in the car. I don't know how the camera got there.
Yeah, and you mentioned Trent's mom with
Trent's
the minivan.
Mom, she's driven up several times there.
Yeah.
The Elite were in their trailer, and Moxley honked the horn and crashed into them. I don't know if that counts. Seems like the same thing just keeps happening over and over, but with different people.
Maybe it's the car bumpers. Now we know it's the car bumpers. They're trying to make sure that they need more car bumpers. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. That's what they need. Some rubber baby buggy bumpers. Anyway, so this show was amateurish and silly and nonsensical. And then Sunday we're going to watch the WWE program, and it will be professional and nonsensical and the guys will be well-trained athletes, but the shit will not be in any way convincing because they're going to gimmick it up with all the 3 ways and the multiple titles. So it'll be a professionally broadcast shit show instead of the Ted Mack Amateur Hour here. Otherwise, I don't know there'll be a lot of difference. And I'm looking forward to seeing Cesaro and Reigns.
Any thoughts on the number this week? AEW did 936,000.
Oh, I forgot. That's another thing I predicted. We could go back and play the tape, but you can hear it on YouTube or whatever, folks. So what did I say? I said when they did the big first week unopposed, 1.2 million. And with the first week unopposed, they also had was that Shaquille or Tyson? That was Tyson.
Tyson.
What? Yes. And then they dropped the next week to under 1 million. And then we said, well, but they're hot shot in War Games, Blood and Guts, so that'll be back up over 1 million. And then they'll drop below it until the next time they can get Tyson or Shaq or a huge gimmick match. And then the more they start hot shotting to get up over 1 million, the more often they do that, then that will lose its effect, and that won't get them over 1 million anymore. So they were at 1.2, then they dropped, then they went back under 1 million, then they did the hot shot with the Blood and Guts, and they went to a little over 1 million, and then they dropped back underneath it. And so far, everything's doing exactly what we said it was going to do. Because there's still a ceiling of the amount of people that will watch silly, phony wrestling done by mostly children. And they've reached it.
All right, and we've reached it as well.
We certainly have. So anyway, more bad wrestling we talk about from a different company on the drive-thru, plus the biography of Shawn Michaels. Let's see if they try to... He's still living, so I'm sure he'll come off well. But all that and so much more, Tuesday on the drive-thru, next week here on The Experience, for Brian and all the rest of us here at the Arcadian Vanguard Cornette Experience Empire. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye-bye, everybody.